Well, welcome to the Split Rock shows here in Lexington. Well, obviously things have changed, which is why we're wearing these, but I've joined the event director, Derek Braun. Now, we are sitting far enough apart here, so we have permission to just...
Sufficiently 8 feet.
Exactly, just to drop this down. Derek, talking to you, I mean, there's been a very serious side to what's happened over the last few months, and there's been a very serious side of what you guys have had to do to get sport back into working condition, not just because people want to compete for sport, but because it is a whole industry and has a lot of effects.
Sure, the entire industry, like you said, has been completely affected by this. I think it was partly our obligation as event organizers to try to do our best to get things going again. We've been fortunate enough to postpone this event 1 month to this date and be able to operate at this time. I think it's essential for all the riders to get back going and doing what they love, competing, starting to operate their businesses again. It's also important for the back end of the system to happen again, for everybody that's employed at this show to have an opportunity to work again. So I really felt a responsibility and an obligation to many different people, not just my family and my team, to operate this event again. I want to say a quick thank you to all the competitors, all the riders, everybody involved that have participated in this event, trusted us to be one of the first FEI events going again, and as well doing their part. I mean, everybody's been fantastic this week, wearing masks all the time, whether they're some people have even worn masks on horseback. So they've done a great job. I hope it continues through tomorrow, and we'll stay strong. And I think it's important for us to be part of the solution, not the problem. So
and building on that, you know, the big day on the final day, the Grand Prix. I mean, that is going to have a slightly different feel to it, but also it's good to see that back in action as well. I know people are hungry for it, and they've been watching around the world.
Sure. I think that it actually won't have necessarily a different feel. I mean, because the sport is still the sport. I think everybody's adrenaline is going to be running high for the first big Grand Prix back. I think that's just going to be natural for the riders. Obviously, the riders won't be wearing masks in the arena competing. So hopefully that the sport is jump-started again now, and hopefully we can be part of that process. And I think all these riders are coming out hungry to win this Grand Prix. So I think it's going to be a really exciting class to watch, and I hope that everybody competes safely.
Well, we've seen some very competitive classes here already this week. They've been keen there. They've been training at home. They've been ready to go. And as you say, there's a humility, though, that comes into everything here, because people are glad to be back. They know what's actually been happening in the world outside of this, and they're glad to be back in the ring and being able to do what they do.
Yeah, we all have to put this into perspective, and what we do is show jumping. You know, a lot of the social aspects of these events have to be put to the side, and the sport has to be brought to light. And I think, like you said, everybody is just here, happy to be competing, happy to be producing their horses again, and that's just the priority right now. So everybody's been training at home, everybody's been preparing for this moment to get jump started again, and now's their opportunity. So everybody's been great and supportive in understanding that the sport is a priority. What's going on in the show ring and training on the sides is important, and all the rest can wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Derek, thank you very much to all of your team that have worked hard. So many organisers have been going through the mill just to get to this point, to get things back open. But great job.
Yep, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much to Derek Braun and his team here at the Split Rock Jumping Show. We are going to get a massive Grand Prix coming up for you, and it's going to be part of a big day as international competition returns to the calendar.
leads, and to the right they'll go over fence number 3. That is the brand new debut split rock jumping tour wall, and then they go to that triple combination up the diagonal with the purple, yellow, and the white rails for PBC. Number 5 is the Dolman vertical, with 6 being our Liverpool Oxer with wrought iron columns. Our Kirkpatrick and Company vertical is number 7, 8, the Allen triple bar, then another combination, the 9AB blue wave combination, and 10, our green is the new blue Bird Oxer there rather, and 11 and 12 is where they will finish things out, the Wrestling Oxer and our Animo vertical, along with number 13 just in front of the pavilion. That is our split rock jumping tour Oxer, where we wrap things up. Time allowed coming up here in just a bit as we discuss the scoring guidelines today. But as we're ever closer now and just 3 minutes away from the top of the hour, it is my distinct honor to introduce to you the Director of Opera at the University of Kentucky. Also, he was a big part of the production, the producer of the opening and closing ceremonies of the World Equestrian Games when they happened for the first time ever here in the United States in Lexington, Kentucky. And he joins us once again today to honor us with our national anthem. So ladies and gentlemen, if you would please rise and remove cover as we'll hear the beautiful sounds of Dr. Everett McCordy.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Dr. Everett McCordy, ladies and gentlemen, as always, a thrilling
Well, a very good
performance here
afternoon
as
and
Grand
welcome
Prix
to
is
Spit
set
Rock
to
Jumping
kick
Shows
off,
here
and we
in
have our
Lexington.
top of
Welcome
the
back
order
to
with us
International
now.
Jumping.
And we'll
It is
salute
our
Lacey
Grand Prix
Gilbertson
here
as she
this
is in the show today.
afternoon.
We have had a scratch
$75,000
later in the order, the 45th position, 57 total entries, and 29th is where we'll take the break. After our 29th to go, we will be dragging the freshen things up. But here is our first up to go, Lacey Gilbertson, the 11-year-old based off of St. Mary's.
Big field of some 58 to go in this, and looking forward to seeing them over an Olympic course designers setup for the day. It is set by Guillaume Georges, the man who built the courses for the Rio Olympic Games. And Lacey Gilbertson is going to be the rider to start us off with Viti DeLonga, the 11-year-old self-français for the US rider, who's going to be our first out. Now, we had a little run around the course there with Brian Lookabill of what to expect in this. It's a time allowed of 79 seconds around this track, and we'll see how that plays out here as well and how tight that is. Long looping lines to start us off over the horsefly fence as the first to go. So Lacey Gilbertson, Viti DeLonga, she had a very good run last season. Lacey with wins early this year as well, back in Wellington, but last year winning a Grand Prix at a similar time in Tryon, and also 5-star wins for her in Tryon as well in the fall of 2019. Lacey with this very good ride, and alongside me is Grand Prix rider Derek Braun, also the event director here. But Derek, we're underway with the Grand Prix.
I know, finally. Unfortunately, we had to move the Grand Prix up 2 hours due to severe weather coming this afternoon, but right now it's beautiful. Guilherme has built an absolutely fantastic course for today. Definitely difficult enough, a lot of options, a lot of tests. I think we're going to see a great track.
Yeah, good. We've got some amazing horses in here. We've got probably the broadest two-star field you'll ever see. There are 5-star horses, 5-star riders. There are 2-star horses. There are young riders. There are young horses. It's a mix of everything.
Absolutely. I mean, we have every level, like you said. Shane Sweetenham, Daniel Blumen, Staples on the 5-star circuit, as well as amateur riders moving up the ranks, young horses, all of it. So I think it's going to be a great day.
It is going to be a good day. 77.20, Lacey Gilbertson and Viti De Longa giving us the first round and the first of the clears. Like I said, she had a very good run in the early part of the year in Wellington in Florida and following up on that kind of form. So good start. Nice flank track there.
She made that look awfully easy.
Yeah, she did.
To start.
So Lacey Gilbertson, good round to start us off, and as you say, I mean, made it look easy. Lovely smooth round in there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like she really stuck to her plan. She stuck to the right numbers. Sometimes it's almost easier, I find, if you do go earlier on in the course, because you really have your solid plan. You don't change it. You just go in there, execute it, and get it done. And that's what we saw from Lacey with a fantastic clear to start us off.
Ali Leopold Moreno from California competed in several World Cups last year, competed on your tour, the Split Rock Tour in Sonoma last year as well, over on the West Coast. Now, again, this gives us a chance to talk a few numbers around here, Derek, with our rider here. First few fences, long looping run, haven't you, which is good to get you going, but then we start to get into really having to put the accuracy on it.
Yeah, it seems like this week Guilherme has really tested the time allowed always at the beginning of the course.
Yeah.
You know, the other day was the same kind of thing, sweeping from one side to the next. Same thing again today. You see 1, 2, 3. That's a great opportunity for a lot of riders to make up a time allowed right at the beginning of the go, so then they can focus on their strategy later on. There you saw Ali just barely fall out of the air at sea of the combination and have the back pole down.
And this is going to be an interesting line. The triple bar down into this double. The horizontal, if you look, painting on the poles. I mean, he really caught them out with a Liverpool earlier on this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the horses necessarily see those different, but definitely the riders do.
Yeah.
So those adjustments changes when the riders see the poles a little bit differently, and that's a very technical line. There's definitely an option there on the number of strides you choose to do. Whether you come in deep or whether you come in forward could really affect whether you have one of those verticals down.
Finish on a total of 4 there. Well, there's going to be time to add to that as well. 1 for time. Time allowed of 79, 80.70 for the rider there.
I think one thing to consider today is like you said, it's such a broad group of riders in this field, right? You have such high caliber riders. You have riders moving up the ranks and starting their international careers. You have young horses, but everybody is preparing for today.
Yes.
You know, everybody's coming in really ready, really strong, really prepared for the Grand Prix. This is their main focus of the week. So they always raise their level for today. So it's a tough task for the course designer to build a hard enough track at the 1.45 height to get the perfect number of clears. You know, so far we've seen a couple good rounds. The first one's clear. The second one had 4 faults. Right now I would predict there could be a good amount clear, but in a 2-star there's nothing wrong with that.
Lorcan Gallagher and VDL Cartello, recent transfer of rides to him from the Heathman stud, the farm that he rides for. And it's the Heathman farm-owned 13-year-old Holsteiner by Katani. Lorcan, who's been on Irish teams before now in Nations Cup, placed down in Wellington earlier on this year, been placed on Split Rock jumping tours in the early years of that too.
And there you saw Lorcan really focusing on the time allowed in the beginning because this horse seems to be a little bit of a slow mover across the ground. And unfortunately, because he cantered the wall with so much rhythm and pace, it kind of caught up with him coming away from the in-gate at the triple combination and got too deep and pushed him forward through the front rail.
And it's been interesting to see this week, as you say, we've had some really super jumping. And again, course designer has really been feeling his way, because nobody's had competition, so they're straight into this.
Yeah,
really feeling
it's
where
definitely
everyone
a
is.
difficult event to build for. You know, people are coming in. You know, you think they could be rusty, but they're actually probably coming in really prepared
Yes.
because they've had so much time to at home concentrate on getting a rapport with their horses and working on any kinks that maybe that they wouldn't have had enough time in the past to do.
Finishes on a total of 4 there, 75.87 for Lorcan Gallagher and VDL Cartello. So just drops that one pole. But again, it's been the signature of the week. We've talked about using 10-foot poles in this arena. It's a square arena. And things just drop lightly, and he's able to use that material well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of these jumps are on 10-foot poles, so they're very delicate. If you touch them, they're probably going to fall. I think there's two particular tests on this course. The wall doesn't really play a factor. Definitely the triple combination heading away from the in-gate is always a little bit of a factor. Oxer coming in. Riders might have a tendency to override that a bit. And then that option to the double of verticals with those wave standards, I think, is going to come into play as well. I think you might see a lot of horses having A of that combination down as well.
Freddie Vesquez now of Puerto Rico, based here in the USA, Kirschwasser SCF, and that's a former ride of Shane Sweetnam, a rider based out of the Messenger Hill Farm in Illinois. Competed at the Pan Am Games last year, Wellington in the early part of the year down in Florida.
And I think it's so great to see an American-bred horse jumping at such a high level. This horse was bred literally not even across the street, adjacent to this property at Spy Coast Farm. So I'm sure it's really thrilling for the previous owner, Lisa Laurie, who bred this horse, to see him competing at such an incredible level and performing so well also.
And that's the thing for people around the world getting an idea of where we are. We are in the heart of American horse country here. We're down in Lexington. We've got famous horse farms around us from the world of thoroughbreds, from the likes of Secretariat's been in the stables here. You know, and as you say, they're breeding horses literally at the end of the grounds here.
So far, Freddie's I think that was my fault. I might have jinxed him, but all in all, that was a great round.
It was a nice round. Finished on a 4 in 77.320. Time allowed is 79 seconds. So
there,
achievable.
You know, he just got down that line way too early. It looked like he might have been getting a little excited that he was jumping a clear round. You could see it in his body language at the end of the course. He was getting just a hair frantic and wasn't patient enough at that skinny animal vertical.
So it gives us the one clear round so far. That from Lacey Gilbertson and Viti De Longa. Daniel Blumen. We talked about the riders in the field. Again, 5-star riders. Few of them with some new horses, few of them with their... I mean, yesterday we saw battles through the week. We got Shane Sweetnam on his horse. He won a European gold on. You know, Nicky Shinian Simpson's been on absolutely amazing form with a horse that's jumped top 5-star. But there's others that have come out the pack as well.
I was talking to Daniel earlier, and he's brought mainly young horses to this event. I know this is an 8-year-old stallion that he has huge sights on. You see with a really massive, lofty jump. But again, this is one of those opportunities for Daniel to come and produce these young horses and give them this valuable international experience.
Daniel Blumen, who rides for Israel, was part of the
See
team
him
that
jump
qualified
way over the wall. Wow. I'd say he's a little bit underpaced, though.
Yes.
So if he keeps jumping this exaggerated, he's going to have to think about time allowed.
But again, that's part of the training process, isn't it? I mean, this one is, 8 years of age, and it's Bayubiko Ubeluk. But again, as the horse develops through this year, he'll have that more into a forward-going motion.
Yeah, but at this level, I mean, the horses have been produced for many years, probably since they were 4 years old. He should be able to concentrate on the time allowed for this level, regardless of the horse's age. I think after this jump is going to be a really good place for him to go forward. And there you see he did. He really thought about it from that oxer. Horse is jumping a 10 for a round right now. But he's going to have a time fault, as we predicted.
Yeah. No shortage jump there, but unfortunately just short on time. 80.86 there for Daniel Blumen and Ubi Luke, first of 2 rides. But as you say, you can see straight over that first fence, huge leap over that.
Yeah, and all that time in the air that the horse spent probably could have cost him that time allowed. I think 1, 2, 3, because he was so exaggerated and so lofty. Again, that's where he had his time faults, because Daniel tried his best to make up for it at the end when the horse was smoothing out, but it just wasn't good enough in the end to get within that time allowed.
Mathis Schwenke now riding for the October Hill Farm, and this is Camira's FZ, 10-year-old for the German rider. It's an Italian-bred horse by Contender. Mathis, who's been in the placings here this week already. Some very highly contended international classes as we come back onto the calendar. He'll be part of the setup along with the Heineken family.
It's great to see Mathis, Aaron, Davis Heineken, and Christian Heineken come all the way from Texas for this event. See, there, I thought he rushed that turn just a hair.
Yeah.
You know, his rhythm was good, but he cut in really tight to it, and I think it caught the horse a little bit off guard, got a little bit too deep, and pushed away the front pole.
Just touches on the front bar there too.
Now, of course, he's thinking, just in case that a 4-fold round does make the ribbons,
Yeah.
go a little bit quicker, make sure my time is really quick to see if I can't sneak in a good prize money check. He's definitely doing just that. He's going to be way underneath the time allowed.
Time's going to be good, but as you say, that's maybe the undoing in here. It's a very quick round there for Mathis Schwenke, and he's going to be around in 71.98. And you say picked up the pace.
And after having that early rail at A, the triple combination, I thought he rode a really, really smart round.
Yeah.
That's about the best you could do after having such an early rail. Being quick, I'd be hard-pressed to imagine many riders will canter around this course with 4 faults in under that time allowed.
Yeah, that's going to be fast, very fast. 71.98 there for him. On to Taylor McMurtry Granite and the 8-year-old Escada, the Holsteiner by Clearway, for the next of the American contingent here.
This horse jumped an interesting round in the qualifier on Friday.
Yeah.
I thought there was a couple mistakes. Maybe this was her other horse. I can't remember. But one of Taylor's horses the other day jumped a great round.
Already been out to the starting blocks well in June. Placed in a Grand Prix in Chicago in the last week or so. Well, 2 weeks ago.
Again, this is, you can see the type of this horse is a little bit of a bigger mover, lofty jumper as well. A little bit slower across the ground and has a much bigger stride. So Taylor, if she's thinking to jump a clear round, she's really going to have to concentrate on the time allowed and really start shaving her turns a little bit more than she is in the beginning of this track.
And there are a few opportunities in here to just squeeze a bit, isn't there?
There's plenty of opportunities. Right here's an opportunity. I think she just took advantage of it. But really, it's important to not start off slow.
Yeah.
I think if you start off behind the rhythm, that could really pose a risk for a time fault. And the time is such an important factor in this level of a Grand Prix. The course designer often uses the time allowed to kind of create those faults along the course. If they're just rushing just a hair just because they know the time is tight, then they might tick away one pole and have 4 faults here and there, but nothing major, but just enough to create a mistake.
It preys on your mind more than anything else.
Absolutely. That was a great round, but again with the time fault.
Nicely done, but it's 83.23. Time is somewhat longer, so unfortunately Taylor McMurtry Granite with 2 time with a Escada 289. Nice combination though, but as you say, time is going to catch them. But again, as we said, mix of experience in here this afternoon. Tanaka Rotkin, Deauville S. The horses are a ride of Laura Kraut before now, and I think even Nick Skelton been in the place of this one. Tanner, 19 years of age, She'd be competing in Spain and Wellington in the early part of this year. Last year was running through the junior ranks in the likes of the Devon Horse Show down in Pennsylvania. Tanner, one of a long list of young teen talents that we've got coming, which, you know, again, two-star is the breeding ground for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, you know, you can really see here that Tanner's one of the up-and-coming U.S. young riders. It's great to see him on such quality horses that have all the experience in the world. This horse, like I think, like you said, was previously seen under Laura Kraut. But I think this is also a very difficult horse to ride sometimes. So you can see Tanner's talent in being able to manage it.
Catches the wing. No doubt that going to add 4 to the score, I'm afraid.
There you just saw Devel shift in the air.
Yeah. But again, he's got that little, you know, we talked about 10-foot poles, so coming into a little skinny vertical at that point. And then the variation opens up over the triple bar.
And I thought that line was really well ridden by Tanner. You could see DeVille wanting to shift in again, just like he did at the skinny plank. And Tanner just took him out a second, added one more stride, and really straightened him out and made it work. I mean, sometimes those instincts in a young rider you just can't teach. You know, they have to be able to correct them on the spot without any warning. And make it work for the horse. And I thought he did that really well there.
I know watching Laura ride the horse, that was occasionally where she was with it and did it brilliantly. So he's picked that up along the way. Tanner Karotkin there finished on a total of 5, picks up 1 time fault, 81.11 there. And so we'll leave them out of the running, I'm afraid. Finishing on a total of 5 overall. Summerhill, based here in Kentucky, the 21-year-old competing previously in the U25 sections. Second in a Grand Prix not too far away earlier on this year, back in February. And then competing in Ocala down in Florida. Summer with this 15-year-old Lasco 29, experienced Hanoverian by Laptop.
And Summer's based here in Lexington, Kentucky, right around the road. She's a super young rider. Again, another up-and-coming U.S. rider with some great national results here last summer. I believe she won 2 summer national Grand Prix in a row right here at the Kentucky Horse Park, so she's very familiar with the facility. This is, again, another really big, scopy, rangy, big jumping horse. But you can see already, even though this horse is a little bit of a bigger mover, just like some of the others, she's thinking about the time allowed just a little bit more. So far, she's jumping a great round.
Yeah.
There, she's really thinking about time allowed. I think she's totally fine on time. And then there, unfortunately, that's one of those time allowed mistakes, I think, that they played a factor. She was rushing it just a little bit to make sure she was in the time allowed, and it cost her that one pole down.
Finishing on the 4 there, 76.24 there for Summerhill and Lasco 29. And does that go into being, you know, some of the more experienced riders? You know your plan, you know your numbers.
Sure.
So you're working on that more than thinking.
And sometimes you have that internal clock as well. And there you could see Summer just like slightly panicking, slightly pushing that time allowed the entire way.
Yeah.
And I think, at least we could tell from on camera and watching it live, that she was probably fine.
Yeah.
That's where her internal clock has to kick in and say, okay, I've done my part for time allowed. Take a breath, jump these last 3 jumps clear.
Yeah.
You know.
Megan McDermott now, Tissamin LS for Megan, who's been based down in Florida, who certainly through the last few months was top 10 in Grand Prix down there in the early part of the year, in the 3-star Grand Prix back in January. Well placed in the Grand Prix in Tryon as well in 2019.
But just to touch on the variety in this class, we have young riders, young horses, older horses, but we also, I don't think we touched on the caliber of horses that are in this class. We have, like you said, Alejandro with Wings, Chalky Z, all these horses that have been in championships before, which is great to see. So they're using this class as a sort of a regrouper and getting back into the swing of things.
Just doesn't quite stretch enough coming out there. But we're back, if you like, to a bit of old school horse shows. A Grand Prix is a Grand Prix and everybody's in it, as opposed to the old divisions. All the divisions we have now, 2, 3, 4, 5 star. Again, settling back in on the 8, unfortunately, at the moment. Tismin LS, a 14-year-old from the La Silla stable originally, down in Mexico. Just a bit of encouragement down that line, rattles the vertical. Leaves it there, though. And time-wise, is absolutely fine, 75.14. Finishing on a total of 12 there for Megan McDermott and Tismin LS. Still a reminder, just that one clear to date with Lacey Gilbertson and Viti De Longa. Now, interesting, Derek, and it was a sort of similar story. We had different stories yesterday, but we started off yesterday with a lot of clears early on and thought we were going to have a lot. We saw that early clear come here and thought it's going to be followed by 4, 5, 6. And we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, like you said, the first couple of horses certainly made this track look simple enough. But when I walked it, I thought Guilherme asked plenty of tests. We knew the time allowed was going to play a factor given the level. And honestly, at this point, it looks like he's built an absolutely perfect track for the field today.
And you're working within 2-star regulations, if you like. You're working to 1.45 m. Some of these horses have been used to 160, but
sure, but it's still challenging enough. I mean, the experienced horses, although they might have more experience, they're still going to have to work for their clear round, obviously.
Abigail McArdle now, Victoria 5. This is one of the hot tips of the week. Several big wins down in Wellington in Florida in the early part of 2020. Won a Grand Prix in Traverse City up in Michigan last year. Has been a great supporter here of the Split Rock jumping shows.
Yeah, the Plain Bay sales team and Abigail, Henri, and Katie Prudent have been one of our biggest supporters over the years in bringing all their horses to come compete at our events. And I'd say this horse and rider combination has as good a chance of winning this class as anybody. I don't want to, give her a jinx, but I think that this horse has come in such good form this year. I know they had a big break, but if she makes the jump off, she can be so fast.
And you've got this one and the one to follow as well, because Nikki Shetty and Simpson coming up with a Kuna Matata. These are two of what, if you were looking at betting on this, these would be pretty short odds.
They'd absolutely be in the top group. This horse, if you notice, really is a really efficient jumper. There, it just looked like out of the turn she had one too many strides. I think if she just stuck to her guns and kept her rhythm, she would have been fine there. Kind of like she did there at the last jump.
Finishes on the 4 athletically over the last, 77.58 for Abigail McArdle and Vittorio 5. So one of the favourites going out of the running, but she did finish a winner of classes earlier on this week with Chuck Berry 8.
You can catch a little glimpse of the cross-country field in the background there on that shot of the arena.
The Land Rover 3-day event that takes place here, the 5-star, one of the 5 stars around the world. Again, sadly didn't take place this year. Normally that field at the prime time when it's open filled with 85,000 people.
But I don't know if everybody notices at watching from home, but this class is presented by the Kentucky Invitational CSI 3-star, which is a huge Grand Prix in the stadium right here in the middle of the Land Rover 3-day event. And it's an unbelievable Grand Prix. And in my opinion, it's not just because we're the ones that manage that for EEI, who owns the event, but the atmosphere is just unrivaled here in America. There's 12,000 sold out seats, and the atmosphere is just electric.
And last year, 5 of the top 10 in the world?
We would have had 5 of the top 10 world ranked riders this year had it been held.
Next year. next year. Nikki Shahinian Simpson, Akuna Matata, winner already this week of the welcome class that we had, the jump-off class here on Friday, was in absolutely fine form. Now, a horse that was out in the early part of the year, and unfortunately, and it was very touch and go of how things would go with that horse, but has come back, is healthy and ready to go. It's a horse with a lot of personality, but a lot of jumping ability.
And you see how fresh and excited she is jumping here. I believe she was second the first day.
Yes.
She won on Friday. So this horse is obviously flying off this arena footing and enjoying every second of it. And Nikki's always one of those riders that you just can never count out. She's so competitive.
Yeah.
This horse is so naturally quick across the ground. She usually never has to worry about time allowed. So she has as good a shot as anybody for this class. Ooh, just gets away with a slight rub at the back pole.
I was going to say one or two are just dropping onto the back bar there.
And then here, I think Nikki's riding this really smart. She took a deep breath at the last, and she knew she was okay on time. And she's going to be definitely the one to beat here in the jump-off.
Yep, 77.67. Time is okay. Nikki Shahinian Simpson and Akuna Matata give us clear round number 2. So Lacey Gilbertson and Nicole Shahinian Simpson clearing the $75,000 Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational. Luis Larrazabal now, Venezuela, again based here in the US. Fiesta the 5th, 10-year-old by Cannon.
So I'd say right now, 2 out of 12 clear. We're on track for about between 6 and 8 clear.
Yep.
I would guess that Guillerme would think it'd be a perfect round if 8 to 10 were clear. So I'd say he's right on track.
Yep. Luis Larrazabal of Venezuela now. I say based here in the US from the San Francisco stables. A whole family that have competed at the international level. He was a winner here on day 1.
For everybody watching at home, the general rule of thumb is it's a perfectly built course if usually there's 20% jump clear.
Yep.
So that kind of percentage you're usually looking for, especially in this level of a Grand Prix. So anywhere between 8 to 10 clear today is going to be the perfect amount and create an exciting jump off for everyone. If everybody notices at home, Luis is wearing a horse flight fist pump armband, indicating that he has the best fist pump of the week. After jumping a clear round earlier in the week, he showed his extreme enthusiasm and did a really cool boxing riff on a fist pump.
Good celebrations.
It's $500 for the leading fist pump award winner. I think it's great to encourage all the riders to show a little more enthusiasm for when we do have a big crowd out there.
We can encourage the crowd at home, that's fine.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see a fist pump today from Luis because he has one down.
On the 4 at the moment. That coming out of the combination across the centre. And again, the rest still in fence there. Like I said, he didn't, but wanted to have just had a tap there. They need to respect that one, don't they, coming out of that corner?
Yeah, and he really, all the riders kind of really need to respect that one because everybody's kind of getting anxious at the end of the course. You know, they're wanting to stay under the time allowed. They're cutting in on the oxer a little bit. I don't know if you can tell from the live stream at home, but the oxer is set pretty close to the wall.
Yeah.
So there's only about 3 strides as you can square up to it. So if you don't hit it just right, either they can lose their impulsion and punch through the front pole or not have enough impulsion and land on the back pole.
Well, we mentioned this one earlier on. Islands, Shane Sweenham and Chaki Z by Chaco Blue. As I say, the horse he rode to a European gold back in 2017, but has been a top finisher in a long list of 5-star Grand Prix. And as you mentioned in there, Alejandro as well that he has here this week. Shane riding for the Spikeo's Farm and Sweetcote, but of course we mentioned Spikeo's Farm literally based over the hedge is probably the best way to put it. Again, this gives us an opportunity to see a good, experienced 5-star combination tackling this track. But it's a level playing field today.
Sure, and Chalky jumped a clear round in the qualifier on Friday and then had one small mistake in the jump off. So Clearly he's coming in and healthy and in form. There you see Shane really thinking time allowed, because again, Chalky's a little bit of a big strided, slow-moving horse, so he really has to shave his turns. But with all the experience that these two have together, he knows where he can save time and should have no problem with the time allowed. Here you can see him send him away from the green is the new blue oxer. He caught the Restylane oxer perfectly. One more fence. It's well within the time allowed.
Ooh. Just left a toe on the front there, but he just gives a roll and it stays 76.50. Shane Sweetnam, Shaki Z, not unsurprisingly, giving us a clear round number 3 in there. But Derek, you mentioned in there, when you watch the professionals, you know, and compare it to the many amateurs that are watching out there, the way Shane lands, the professionals land from a fence and they're going somewhere. There's no sort of land and think, it's go.
Yeah, that's sort of like just natural reactions from them over time, you know. I think one thing that separates a little bit more of the experienced riders from the young riders, and one thing that the young riders can take from that, is working on controlling your brain, right? You know, the slower your brain thinks, the more you can concentrate on each task one at a time, and then you can execute it properly. And also not panicking in certain moments, you know, keeping your cool, knowing that your plan is a plan for a reason, and just doing your best to execute it. And that's what the most experienced riders out there do. They're used to that kind of pressure changes along the way, and they can keep an even keel.
Well, Jessica Mendoza had a super run here this week. She was second and third behind Nikki Shahinian-Simpson in the big jump-off class here in the international ranks on Friday. She was second with Diamant's Aurora that she rides now, a 10-year-old by Diorado. Jessica's been in and out of based here in the US for the last few months.
Yeah, and I'd say Jessica and Nikki Simpson are dueling it out for the Restylane Leading Lady Rider Award. Not her round today, but she was second and third on Friday. I believe she has another mount today, so she still has a chance to claim that Leading Lady Rider Award.
Yeah, she's got Dublin coming up later.
But it's going to be difficult with Nikki also in the jump off, so it's going to be really close.
Well, Jessica's saving.
For those of you at home, you can download our Split Rock Jumping Tour app, which has all the results of the entire event, all the videos from all the rounds. You can also see very easily the Leading Lady Rider Award standings and all those other amenities on there. So,
Christian Heineken now. And this is the NKH Darko son of Darko, you would expect, a 9-year-old stallion. NKH Darko's son for Christian Heineken, based down in Texas. And you're teaming up with the Heinekens with a new World Cup show. Looking forward towards that.
Yeah, this is going to be the largest show of the year for us, finishing with the CSI 4-Star W World Cup qualifier in Fort Worth, Texas. We're really honored to host that event down there, you know, in the heart of ag country in Fort Worth, Texas, at Will Rogers Coliseum. Obviously, the event this year is probably going to look a little different. I'm not sure we're going to allow spectators or anything along those lines, but we're still extremely excited for the event. We hope all the riders across America come and support it. Christian and Aaron have been really supportive in helping develop and plan for that event. And it's just great to bring a huge international show jumping event to Texas, which has never been before.
Looking forward to that in December. Here, a son of Darko, and strikingly looking like Darko.
Yeah, definitely.
Darko is ridden, of course, by...
There you can see Christian really thinking time allowed to the triple bar. He's jumping a nice round so far. You could almost see Darko's son sight in on that Restylane oxer. So he was prepared for it, ready. And
there we go.
Great round.
75.89. So no problem at all. Christian Heineken, NKH Darko's son, going forward to the jump off as well. A strong little group in here, and gives us the fourth that clears. Swiftly, we've gone from just Lacey Gilbertson sitting alone to Nikki Shahinian-Simpson joining in with Mix, Shane Sweetnam, and Christian Heineken.
So that's 4 now out of 16. So it looks like we're probably going to be creeping up around the 10 range for clear rounds.
We'll be going up, down, up, down. I think there'll be a little bit of variation in there if we look at it on a graph. We'll see. Mark Blumen could well be one to join them in there. Mark, also based here in USA, but rides for Columbia internationally. He's the cousin of Daniel Blumen that you saw a little bit earlier on, just to pull all the family relations together. And before now, competing right the way through to the Bolivarian Games. He was finishing well in the Grand Prix in Prix in October of last year. Similarly wins in Traverse City up in Michigan. Mark on Cartouche. Horse by Cartago. It's 13-year-old stallion. Just a skinny little vertical coming down into the corner and then back up to these ornate cathedral wings over the water tray. There are 5 strides down that line. Triple bar, and then you just got to have everything back so not to be too far forward. Many seem to have got the measure of the verticals in the double there. Pair they've been together for a good few seasons now. And it just shows as they get the time, 76.94. So Mark Blumen, Cartouche, adds into the clears and gives us 5 to date. Suddenly we come with a few on the bounce. As I say, I think we'll be levelling off in that. I completely agree with you. I think somewhere around 8, 10, somewhere in that mark we'll end up with in the end.
You know, I'm actually constantly watching the radar for the rain as we're talking here, and it looks like we might get away with it, but you know, the more horses that jump clear, that means the more chances the rain could come in time. But hopefully we get this accomplished.
Just remember, you've got a microphone. There is such a thing called a commentator's curse, so don't mention the weather either.
That's why I said hopefully.
Hopefully. Brian Maugret, Nikita Jolie. Now, this young man has been a real superstar of the last 12 months and more. The US rider on this 10-year-old by numero uno. But Brian, who really has jumped to prominence in the last 12 months, he actually won the Grand Prix, the National Horse Show Grand Prix here in the Alltech Arena back in, well, end of October, early November last year. Nations Cup rider for the US in Wellington this year. He's still just 18 years of age, but already has claimed the World Cup qualifier in Live Oak last season too.
Another one of those young American riders that has really taken the scene by storm this year and in the past couple of years. All the talent in the world. This is, I believe, a new mount for Brian as of the beginning of this year. He's already coming off a win, the first week back showing, I believe, in Tryon a couple weeks ago in the Grand Prix there, or a $25,000 Grand Prix there.
But for him, I mean, he has very good riding talent, but you were talking about it earlier, that ability to think at the right time and have confidence. He seems to have that.
Sure.
There we go, and he certainly has a clear, 76.51. Brian Maugret, Nikita Jolie will jump their way into the jump-off. A strong little run here, 3 clears in a row. Brian Maugret joining in with the 10-year-old by numero uno.
4 to 5.
We'll see. 76.51 the time, all okay. So, Armando Hassi, Lomax, 10-year-old for the Mexican rider. Is Westphalian by Lord Pezzi. Another who's been a regular with the Split Rock Jumping Tour shows. And for those that are new to the Split Rock Tour, you know, Derek, you take shows around the country during the season now. It started back in 2015 with just shows at your farm here in Lexington, just down the road. Even I was involved in those back then.
Yep.
And you've grown and grown right the way through, as you say, to last year it was World Cup qualifiers in Ohio. Now it'll be World Cup qualifiers in Texas. Here in Lexington, you've been to New Mexico, you go to California, all over.
Yeah, we kind of try to provide a wide variety of locations and venues and options for people across America. We want everybody to try to experience our horse show experience. We like to think that we're extremely organized and detail-oriented. Everybody across America can experience it. We have shows here, like you said, here in Lexington. We have shows in Columbus, Ohio, Aiken, South Carolina,
Yep.
Fort Worth, Texas, Sonoma, California, Santa Fe, New Mexico. So hopefully we can reach every market, keep expanding a little bit over the next few years, and just keep providing a good product for everyone.
Armando's still on a clear at the moment with Lomax. You were very keen on this horse earlier this week.
Yes, I've always been keen on this horse. Armando's a good friend of mine, a huge supporter of this show since the very beginning. He sponsors this event with U.S. Animo, the clothing brand, and I've always loved this horse since I believe it was 8 years old, and I thought it would be a great horse for my wife to ride, Michelle, actually, but he won't sell it to me.
On just the 4. So just chopping the one fence there, 77-44-4 for Armando Hassi and Lomax
And
for Mexico.
you know, I thought that was a great round, actually. He really attacked the course. I think that just the one place where he had that rail down behind, he was thinking time allowed, so it kind of cut left in the air and caused him to have it down, unfortunately.
Andrew Burns now, the Irishman based here in the US as well, down in Florida. Sea-Top Blue, 9-year-old by Chaco Blue. Now again, Andrew here with a very good string of horses. Been very good at getting those horses through to a level that then they go through, and often with other riders to the 5-star level. But Andrew been very good at finding them through to that. Competing down in Wellington, as many did in Florida in the early part of the year before the truncated season. Was also competing back in Europe last summer, and previously second on the Split Rock Jumping Tour shows in the Grand Prix of Ohio. And again, has looked pretty solid this week. What's been the signature of the courses this week from Guillaume Georges, a looping serpentining line to start off with. Well through the triple combination now, just going to steady for a little vertical. That's standing at 145, just a touch in front. 5 strides through to the Kirkpatrick vertical. .180 spread. This pair of verticals at 9. I say, which they seem to have got a good handle on. And Andrew giving himself space into the Restylane Ox are okay. And just tight up to the last to make sure of time. Time is A-OK for Andrew Burns. And there it is, 76.34. And well put together round on a good looking combination. It gives us clear round number 7 of our lineup at this stage, the $75,000 FEI Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational. I can see Guillaume Georges though from here, our course designer. He's not actually looking too worried. Pretty chilled out. But that's the great thing for the riders this week. I mean, they've got a man designing the courses who built the courses at the Rio Olympics.
Yep.
You know, it's standards all the way through. Tanner Karotkin now, Country Boy. It's an 11-year-old by Carrie Best. And Tanner, a new ride for him here. It was a former Andy Coker ride, wasn't it?
Yeah, previously ridden by Andy Coker earlier in the year and in previous years. I believe they acquired this horse through midwinter season this year. And he's really had some great results already on it. The horse really jumps well for him.
Yeah, the 19-year-old back for his second ride.
Really great through the triple. And Tanner, I believe, is working with Shane Sweetenham here as well.
Yeah.
So obviously he's gaining valuable experience from Shane.
And that's the thing that's so important for the teen riders, whether it's whoever it is to have that support along the way. You know, you need to get in with some of the big riders to gain that experience. And
Absolutely, but even the main big riders need a tremendous support group on the ground to help them get to where they want to go.
Just drops the Animo vertical, unfortunately, and that will leave him on the 4. It is just the one down, 73.96, Tanner Karokin and Country Boy. It's a fascinating sport when you look at it, Derek, because you know you'll go and walk the course and a number of you will talk together and get your ideas together. I mean, you don't stand there in golf and your fellow golfer looks and says, well, I think that putt's a bit left to right, you know.
No, there's definitely a sense of camaraderie about the sport. You know, the riders communicate together, tell each other what they truthfully think about the courses and their horses and how to do things a little bit better, because it's all in good sport.
Yeah.
Everybody's definitely, once they get into the show ring, as competitive as the next. And I think it's important to spread that knowledge, you know, so everybody can be successful.
Kenny Abramson now of the US, and last competing internationally in Tryon last year. The 22-year-old who's been the recipient of several wins in the under-25 series of classes. Boudica Ideal Home, this 30-year-old Belgian warm blood by Castellino van der Helle.
So far, so good, but she's a little bit steady. I think she's going to have to think about the time allowed.
Coming home on the 4. Time will be midway in the end. Reaches over the last 74.73, but just having that fence down, double down to the green is the new blue. Oxo, fraction forward.
I think that was the point in the course where, again, she thought, now I have to pick it up for time allowed. You could see the horse lean a little bit left, shift left before she left the ground, and it caused her to have 4 faults. She really picked up pace at that later point in the course, and okay, she was well underneath the time allowed, but in the end it cost her 4 faults.
Well, Jonathan Miller now, DeVoe, another experienced international combination. The Canadian, again, has remained based down in Florida rather than returning to his native Canada this season.
And we have a wide variety of countries competing. I think the number was 14, you said the other day. That's just great to see, but in the same breath, everybody sort of had to stay in the States if they were here during the winter season because they couldn't fly back to Europe or cross the border to go to Canada. So it's great to see this number of countries represented here today.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see you get back into an international competition, and it truly is an international competition.
Yep.
Yeah. So Jonathan Miller there, and winner of the opening class here this week, in fact, who's part of the team that were at the World Championships here at the Horse Park back in 2010 when the World Games were staged here. Hence such great facilities here in Kentucky. Top 10 in the Grand Prix at the Nations Cup in Deer Ridge down in Florida. Jonathan and Kelly Salome Miller competing here this week. As I say, they usually would have headed north by this point. It's a good solid performer for him. Straightens up. Tiny touch on the way into the double down there. Picks up pace around the corner. Sets up for this Oxer. One more fence to go. Time will be okay. And there we go, 77.73. Clear's coming thick and fast at the moment, and will give us clear round number 8, Jonathan Miller and DeVoe. But making for a really interesting jump off so far. Lacey Gilbertson, Nicole Shahinian Simpson, Shane Sweetenham, Christian Heineking, Mark Blumen, Brian Mowbray, Andrew Burns, and now Jonathan Miller joining in. It's certainly not going to be easy. Isabel Rusakov now, based up in Connecticut. Blues Fly High won a lot of national classes on this horse. 13-year-old stallion by de Blue de Rouet. And as you say, Derek, you know, there is that whole mix in there. There's 18, 19-year-old, I'm going to use the word kids in there, but against you know, experienced championship riders.
And there you see her still having a little bit of trouble with the horse's canter through the turn. She reacted really quickly and made it work, but she's coming in awfully forward to the triple combination. It's nice to see a horse still so fresh at this late in the week.
Yeah. After
jumping multiple rounds through the week, this horse is obviously still has plenty left in the tank, and he's proving to be a little bit of a handful right now for her. But she's handling it great. I mean, I really like the way she's, even though he's being a little bit of a handful, she's really like attacking the course with energy. She's really making it happen.
Harnessing it.
There, it just gets away from her at the end. You know, often, you know, when a horse is being a little bit difficult like that and you're having to ride so aggressive and forward, it catches up with you later on in the course. You know, it's like a domino effect. It comes more and more and more and more as the course goes on, and that's what happened right there for her at the Animo.
Well, it leaves her just on the 478.15 for Isabella Ruskov and Blues Fly High for the young US rider. 8 clears to date in the $75,000 Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational. Daisy Farish now, based here in Kentucky, in Versailles, Kentucky. Family also steeped in the racing world through the Lane's End Farm, again just over the hill. Great White is going to be the ride, this 12-year-old Holsteiner by Kumano, for this very good young US talent. And part of Youth Nations Cup teams already. She's 19 years of age. He's already put 5-star wins together in Spruce Meadows up in Canada. Placed in a series of classes for the U25s earlier on this season. In fact, was a junior team gold medalist here when the Young Rider Championships were staged here at the Horse Park in Kentucky.
I mean, we really have so many great up-and-coming U.S. riders on display in this class. And see her fight for the triple combination there.
Yeah.
And then immediately sit up with her body position at the Dahlman Jump Co. plank. Gets away with a slight rub at the Kirkpatrick and Co. vertical there. Sometimes getting a little bit of a rub at a vertical like that isn't the worst thing in the world if the jump stays up, because that feeling of touching the pole almost makes the horse react that much more at the other jumps on course. So we'll see if she can hold it together for a clear.
Daisy in Great White with all the ability. Just leans slightly on that vertical, the Animo fence. The last, though, they take with ease, and time-wise, they're okay. 78.36. Daisy Farish and Great White will put themselves into the jump-off. 9 into the jump-off at this stage. But again, you know, those that we're seeing go through, there's no great surprises in there, are there? I mean, they're pretty solid combinations.
Yeah, I mean, so far there's a lot clear. 9 through the first half, which is a lot. As it's proving, it kind of seems like maybe even the time allowed could have been 1 or 2 seconds shorter, which maybe would have allowed for a couple more to have a couple faults. But given the way the first 3 jumped the course, I mean, there would have been really no way to predict that necessarily in the beginning. So it just seems like everybody's kind of figuring it out at this point.
The 19-year-old Annabeth Athey now competed both in Europe and US last year. Another former junior gold team medalist back in 2017. Host of national wins to her name as well. Nat King Cole. 10-year-old Swedish warm blood by de Monto-Revel. And adds 4.
Just touches the back pole with the front legs of A of the combination. And she's just kind of letting him get into the jumps just a little bit too early. That's where that body control really comes into play in front of the jump. You really have to stretch up tall, but also keep that connection. When you're squeezing the horse with your legs, you need to have equal pressure with your hands. And here you can see the horse is just kind of dragging her a little bit too deep everywhere. She made it happen down that vertical to the green is new blue oxer line. Here you can see later on in the course she's really fighting a little bit harder to keep him off the jump.
Finishes on a total of 12, 78.56 for Annabeth Athey there and Nat King Cole. As you say, just a fraction forward of what they would have wanted through, and it puts them to a dozen in the end. Ali Leopold Moreno now. Valentino du Soleil, the 11-year-old Self-Francais. Second ride for Ali here.
We have Ali Leopold Moreno, lifetime equestrian, competing here with the Valentino du Soleil, 11-year-old Bay Self-Francais going by Sandro Boy.
Now the Californian back with a second ride.
The Thermal California Winners Series.
Good start to the season down in California. And several Californians deciding to base themselves here in Kentucky for the next few months. It's all been a change around for the usual plans. Well, everybody changing their plans quite differently. As I say, there's a few of the Californians here.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of have to just sort of predict where the shows are going to be able to be operational and what kind of shows you want to compete at. So far, so good for Ali.
Just a touch in front.
There you can see her really fighting for a clear round so far. How do you feel she is on time?
Well, it's not going to matter now, unfortunately, but I was just going to say you're right. She's going to be very close. She's not going to get there. Again, but all the time, finishing on the 4 there, 81.44. Well, going to add some time to that as well. Going to add 1 for time. But as you said, there was a little bit of fighting in there, and that's, of course, always losing you time as well.
Yeah, even though it kind of appeared like she was always going forward, it was a little bit of a... she was really having to encourage him all the time to go forward, which means he was sucking back just a little bit. And every time you do that, it just adds up over the course of the entire course. And for all intents and purposes, though, it was a pretty good round.
Yeah.
Just got a little rush there at the end.
Erin Davis Heineken now, based down in Texas. We mentioned we saw Christian Heineken produce a clear a little earlier on with NKH Darko Sun. Now Erin's turn with Leone. Second in the Grand Prix down in Thermal in March and February. Won a Grand Prix on the Saturday night down in Wellington, Florida. Those big Saturday night light shows back in January. based out of the October Hill farm. And this one has been one of the star combinations of the season that we've seen so far.
Absolutely. And the more time this combination has together, the better their results continue to get. And it's just incredible. The mare is so competitive. She's so naturally fast and careful. So, again, this is one of those riders that if she's clear, you know, she's going to be one to contend in the jump off for sure. And it's so great to see Christian and Aaron and Mathis come here support this event. As you said earlier, we're collaborating together on the Fort Worth International, December 16th to 20th in Texas this year. We're really looking forward to that big World Cup qualifying event. So far, she's having a great round.
Not unexpectedly.
Leone seems really concentrated.
Yeah. Final fence.
Totally fine on time.
Yep, 76.68. So it's going to be husband and wife through into the jump off. Erin Davis Heineken and Leone continue the form of where they left off in the early part of 2020 and join us into the clears and take us into double digits.
Well, I think we can be assured of a fast jump off.
I think that's
today.
definitely on the cards.
Already 10 clear halfway through. You have Leone and Aaron, Shane Sweetenham and Chalky Z, Nikki Simpson and Akuna Matata, the winner from the other day. I mean, pretty much everybody that was predicted to jump clear or could possibly jump clear today has so far, and it's going to be an awesome jump off to watch.
Samuel Parro Jr. now, the Chilean rider with Buja Z. Is Belgian warder by Chester Z. Nations Cup rider earlier on this year, follows in the footsteps of his father and grandfather with their equestrian backgrounds. He was a winner down in Wellington in Florida. And pulls that one away in no uncertain terms. So we're going to have 10 clears going into the halfway stage. Forward and finding that line easier. Final fence, but the fence down puts them out of the running. Just a touch at the back of the Oxford. 76.82 for Samuel Parro Jr. of Chile and Buja Z. Leave them on the 4 faults, and so will take us into our break here, halfway stage of round 1. Derek, I know you've got 1,001 other things to be doing, so you're going to be heading off to do those.
Yeah, I'm going to go make sure the footing's where it needs to be. Make sure we have enough water on it, and hopefully the rain holds off. Like you said, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything. I believe you're going to be joined by Lorcan Gallagher for the second half of this, and I wish everybody good luck.
Thank you, Derek. Yes, we're going to have the Irish translation book out later on. We're going to be joined by Lorcan Gallagher. We've already got Irish riders into the jump-off. Andrew Burns, Shane Sweetenham. For Germany, we've got Christian Heineken. For the USA, Brian Mogray and Erin Davis Heineken. Mark Blumen coming in there for Colombia. Lacey Gilbertson and Nikki Shahinian Simpson. Canada, we're going to see Jonathan Miller. And also for the US, the likes of Daisy Farish as well in our lineup at this halfway point of this Lexington International 2-star $75,000 Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational. So we take a few moments breather, and then we will be back into the completion of round 1 of this class. 10 clears to date. How many will be in our jump off? Well, the only way to find out is to stay with us. Well, back into action here in Lexington, $75,000 FEI Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational. Change of analysts, and Lorcan Gallagher, the Irish rider, is alongside me. Lorcan, just to introduce you a little bit, I was talking about your new teaming up with the Heathman farm.
Yeah, this is my first show really with these horses and the Heathman team. I was based with Shane Sweetenham for about 8 years before, but really excited for the future. We're all very ambitious and we've got a great group of horses, so
it's looking good.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Andrew Wells is going to be our first up after the break. Now, I mean, you've ridden around this course. Give me a little bit of a summary.
It's hard to build, I suppose. He's done a great job. Time is a little snug. First few jumps I think have to be quite tight. I turned a little tight back in the combination and had the front rail. But it's fair, you know. Then there's a few distances a little short across the middle here after the Liverpool. But this line from the triple bar, when I walked it, I thought that would cause more trouble, but it's jumped quite well. The Oxer I think has come down a few times, but I'm not sure I've seen the verticals. But yeah, he's done a great job. There's 10 clears already, so I'm sure we're going to have a fast jump off.
I'd have no doubt about that one.
Yeah.
Looking through who we've got into that jump off. Let's just remind you who we've got in the jump off so far. Lacey Gilbertson in there, Nicole Shahinian-Simpson, the US rider, Shane Sweetenham in there for Ireland, Christian Heineking of Germany, of course. So it's Mark Blumen in there, Colombia, Brian Mowgray of the USA, Andrew Burns of Ireland, Jonathan Miller of Canada, and then back to the US with Daisy Farish and Erin Davis Heineking in our lineup so far. As you say, look, and it looks a pretty fast one based on the form that we've seen of those horses so far. 10 clears out of that lot. Do you think we can expect the same number again?
Yeah, there's good riders and horses coming still. I think you'll probably have another 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
let's get into it with Andrew Wells, Brindis Big Ebo for the US rider, this 14-year-old Dutch warm blood who's by Grand Pilot. And Andrew, brilliant finish last year, one of his best finishes in Washington in the World Cup there, finishing second in that President's Cup to Laura Crouch. Wins down in Wellington in this early part of the year as well. Was well placed before now in the World Cup qualifier in Ohio. So Lorcan, let's have a little look around with Andrew. Talk us through a few of the numbers.
yeah, so nothing related until after the combination. That's a shame, come up a little quick. But for the time allowed, I think 1, 2, 3 really have to be tight and take a chance. And I'm sure that's what Andrew was thinking about there. So yeah, this after the combination, it's a very steady 7. It's smart building, the plank, skinny plank there right into the corner. A lot of horses are shifting away from the corner, and that's come down a number of times. It's quite a square Oxer with the Liverpool underneath it, so you have to ride that with a bit of pace, and then the 5 is very short after.
And here into the double. Again, a little bit of pace there.
Yeah, and there's my curse. I think I said it didn't come down much at all. Actually started out, but it walks almost that you could do one less stride, but obviously you always want to balance the horses into the double of verticals. And I just think the horse didn't really come back to him at the end.
Well, there we finish on a total of 875.95 for Andrew Wells and Brindis Bagibo. Unfortunately takes him out of the running there with that combination. Just looking through, he does have a second ride to come later on with Primo Troy.
Yeah, I'm sure after jumping around it now, he'll be hoping for a clear round with Troy.
Yeah.
I think that's the horse he was second in Washington.
He was,
on.
yeah, second in Washington. Dylan Daly now of Ireland, and a 9-year-old Chunk, which I think is a new ride to Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan's just started working with Eye Candy Jumpers, great opportunity. He's a nice guy, so I'm sure he'll be hoping to get to know these horses too and moving up to this level.
And he'll be working alongside Paul O'Shea?
Yeah, Paul, it's a great mentor for him. Obviously, he's been involved for the Irish team now this past few years, a real huge part of it. And to have someone like that on the ground next to you is invaluable. So hopefully Dylan can pick up some pointers from Paul. And even watching the way Paul rides and works the horses at home for a younger rider, it's it's invaluable. I was well ridden there.
Get himself over the vertical. But again, is that a rolling effect of the previous fence?
Yeah, I think, okay, it was maybe, if you watch the video back, I'm sure he'll want maybe a little bit more space there. Because you have to use a little leg. But then he was maybe a little close and then put a little pressure on the horse.
Yeah.
Just went out the jump a bit. And then knock-on effect with the jump after it as well. And actually we didn't see that at the front, or at the start. There was a brick out of the wall.
Coming in with the last stand as well. Finishes on a total of 20 this time. Going to be time to add to that as well. 82.49 for Dylan Daly and Chunk. But really, Lorcan, I mean, he's getting used to this horse still.
Yeah, exactly. It's even the same with myself. You know, I think he's done a couple of shows in Wellington, but he'll be able to look back on that, learn some things, and I'm sure the next show he'll be hoping to be going clear. Yeah.
Well, from Dylan Daly of Ireland, we're going to go head on to Hardin Towel of the USA, Corollo. Horse by Chaco Blue. This is an 11-year-old German-bred horse for Hardin.
This horse last year won the Queen's Cup, and Hardin was second to Andy Coker on another of his horse. And that's funny, he has the ride.
Switching around. Hardin, who's been out with injury to himself for a long time, and was just coming back when things came to a stop. But now is back fully fit into the ring.
Hardin, a very experienced rider, a member of the global tour for a number of years, jumped in a lot of US teams, so this will be a good one to watch. But again, new partnership. See how much jump the horse has there.
Lands and immediately drops themselves into the rhythm they need.
Yeah, that's somewhere you really have to make up time there. Hardin rode that very well, balanced the 5, and as soon as he landed, got right over to the triple bar. They're very well ridden. And he'll go again now. That's the thing, the time is fair, but you just have to stay on it everywhere. You know, if you go to sleep, you can really get caught. Yeah.
Onward down to the finish, and certainly not asleep. It's going to be a pretty quick time. Round in easily inside the time allowed. 74.99 for Hardin Towel and Corollo.
Very good round.
Looking a good combination to come forward together. But he, like his business partner, you know, Derek Kenny, they're very good at the catch ride. They're very quick at getting back into a ride, aren't they?
Yeah, both of them, look, they have a lot of experience now for still being relatively young, and have ridden lots of different types of horses, so I'm sure he's ridden something similar to Corollo before, so it doesn't always take too long for the more experienced riders like them.
It's on to Summerhill now. We saw her a little bit earlier on, back with her second ride. As we said earlier, she had a very good run at the shows here in Lexington last season. Summerhill with the 12-year-old light show for the Kentucky-based rider.
Yes, she's a good rider, Summer. Very competitive now this past couple of years. I think she won a couple of Grand Prix here last year.
Yes.
At the end of the summer.
Yeah, the National Grand Prix, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That was well ridden. So then you see the time for the likes of these horses that are always travelling quick across the ground shouldn't be much of an issue.
But you can see she came around the corner and just did have to give a pull.
Yeah, a little. Because that's after the 7 to the skinny plank, you know, it really slows you up, and then you have to get going again. Well ridden again.
And that's caught quite a few. Talk me through that line.
Yeah, if you see, we're sitting looking directly at that. You can see the horses don't really put their eye on it through the corner, and you can see that horse shifted a little bit off the ground, and then it makes the oxer a little bit wider.
Finishes on a total of 4 there, 75.51. Just the Restylane Oxer going down for Summerhill this time, a light show.
That was a shame. It was a good round.
Yeah.
But again, good experience. You know, 2-star Grand Prix, younger rider. She learned from that as well.
For her, exactly. It was National Grand Prix last year.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
It's a step on.
Into the FAI divisions.
Brian Mowbray making his way down on his leading ride. MTM Vivre le Rêve. Right on this 11-year-old Westphalian by Ustinov that has taken him to 2 World Cup wins. Here in Lexington at the National Horse Show last year. And down in Ocala in Live Oak. Put himself onto the Nations Cup team earlier on this season, competing in that squad. Down in Wellington. It's also reserved for the Nations Cup in Deerage. The 18-year-old already put together wins in Spruce Meadows last year as well, and on the Young Rider Nations Cup teams, being at the top of the podium there.
Yeah, Brian's a brilliant rider. You know, one of the best young American riders now coming through the ranks. He used to train with Mike McCormick and Tracy Finney. They did a really good job with him. And now he's based with Ken Nemley-Smith here in Lexington. So this is a local show for him.
And for him, I was talking to Derek about it. What's making him so good? I mean, he technically is good, but what else?
You know, he's very confident as well.
Yeah.
I think he really believes in his abilities, you know, without being arrogant. But
yeah,
they
there's
obviously
a big
have
difference between the two.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get carried away. Sometimes, if you are getting carried away, you need one of those rounds, a bit of a reality check.
You sound like you've been there.
A few times. Yeah, but I think when you're on a roll like Brian has been, when you're going into the ring, you almost feel like it's harder to knock a jump down than go clear. Like you see the way he's riding around here, very calm, collected from the beginning. That's a shame. So that's what you mean, the commentator's curse.
Yeah, that's it. Welcome to my world.
Yeah, that's
Finishing on a total of 4, 77.37. Going back to that, you know, where the pole came there, what did you see?
It's hard to tell from here, but the same oxer again as the last horse. I have to see back in the video, maybe a little close. And the horse really jumped up away from the front bar and just clipped the back bar coming down. But he'll be back. He was clear in his first mount.
Absolutely. Yeah, back later with Nikita Jolie. Jacqueline Stephens now of Canada. Freaky Leafheber. One Canadian already through in Jonathan Miller.
Here's another rider for Canada,
Jacqueline Stephens.
The 10-year-old
finishing well in Deerage down in Florida back in the shows of January, February. Also another of those that's competed here through juniors and young riders here at the Horse Park when the stages of the Young Rider Championships were staged here.
Jacqueline again, I believe, just started working with Eye Candy as well as Dylan. So the same training with Paul O'Shea. Good ride there. I missed the jump I had down myself, you know, coming away from the gate. You don't want to take too much time, but if I was to ride it again, I'd ride it similar to Jacqueline. I'd go out a little further and then try and make the time up elsewhere.
Yeah. Riding a course the second time is so much easier than the first. It's it's like the second ball off the tee in golf.
Yeah, I know about that enough. Yeah, it would be nice to have a mulligan and show jumping.
Just wind picking up a little bit at the moment. As we say, there is some weather due in later, which is why the Grand Prix is earlier.
It was nice to move up. I'm sure we've plenty of viewers across Europe, and with the time difference, then it's not too late.
Yeah. On the 4. Good one to her, for her to build on there. 74.44 for Jacqueline Stephens. As you say, pretty new rise.
Yeah, that was a really good round. That 5, it really does get short, and the horse just rubbed it off behind. But I think when she goes away, she'll probably be very happy with that, looking back.
Jacqueline Stephens just finishing on the 4 faults then. Now we're going to see a new combination together as well. Same out of the Eye Candy stable in its Squirt Gun, a 9-year-old by Diorado, now with Paul O'Shea in the saddle. And Derek and I and various other commentators during the week have been touting how well this pair go together.
Yeah, as a fellow Irishman, I'm really excited that Paul has this. He could be a valuable member of our team, you know, going forward. Obviously, he jumped the Nations Cup with Andy Coker this year in Florida. I think he was clear, and then a time fault.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a great asset for Paul. And, obviously, Paul's a brilliant rider, so I think this will be a very competitive combination going forward.
Yeah, Paul.
He's already won a Grand Prix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, those early shows in Wellington at the start of June. And then a few in Tryon as well. This is the first week of international competition.
Jumped the combination really good. I think it was the middle of the combination he had down in the qualifier.
Could have been.
You see the way Paul rode that. As soon as he landed over the oxer, he balanced the horse immediately, and the horse reacted, and then he had the room at the vertical that the horse could just jump it. He wasn't running out of space.
And that's where it just runs out, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's hard line, you know, the triple bar. You ride a little forward and then the bend in line. And that oxer again.
Just unravelling a little bit at the latter part of the round, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the horse still jumped well.
Yeah.
You know, again, we said it's a new combination. I'm sure, like all of us, you work on certain things. And sometimes you learn more from rounds like that than where you do have a couple of cheap reels. And Paul being the professional he is, I'm sure in the coming weeks and months you'll see a lot of good results.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. One to watch out for this year and beyond. Paul O'Shea in Squirt Gun. Kristen van der Vee now. Bull runs Faustino de Tilly, the 15-year-old Belgian Warblood by Berlin. Kristen, who's had several 5-star wins, including a few seasons ago, 5-star Grand Prix win in Tryon.
Yeah, this horse and Kristen have won so much together. I think it's a crazy number, like 40 something ranking classes. So I'm sure if she goes clear, this will be one to watch in the jump off.
But again, they're so quick against the clock when they get in there with the jump offs that. But I mean, she's the opposite, if you like, of when we were talking about the systems a little bit earlier on of surrounding yourself with people. She does her own thing.
Yeah, does
generally.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've seen her training with many people at all. No. But that's it. When you believe in your system and it works for you, then you don't really need a change. Yep. And really, this past 4 or 5 years, she's been a regular placer, you know, in the Grand Prix. She's actually jumping in Tryon this week also.
Oh, okay.
The Grand Prix last night. So she's travelling 4.5, 5 hours in between the 2 shows.
That's determination for you.
Yeah, she's dedicated. That's a shame. You mentioned there about, you know, a lot of problems in the ladder part of the course, but the horses also haven't been jumping. You know, maybe they're running out of a little stamina. This is on the first or second show for a lot of these horses, you know, back. So I'm sure they're not fully fit either.
Yeah. And as much as you can train at home, you've not got that same longevity of 3-4 days of competing and all the rest of it.
Yeah, it's different for me when I moved to Heathman. I suppose I did a little more with the horses than a lot of people would have been because I'm trying to get to know them.
Yeah.
But I'd say during the pandemic, a lot of people probably really eased off on the workload. Obviously, you're still exercising the horses every day,
Yes.
but you're not jumping a lot.
Well, there was a long period of there of you didn't know what you were aiming at.
That was the hardest thing, yeah.
Yeah. So there was, well, do I get them fully fit? Do I get them half fit? What do I do?
Yeah.
So there's not lost weeks, but there's periods where exactly you weren't going to be absolutely ready to go the next day.
Yeah, exactly. That was the hardest thing because you didn't know what to plan towards, and that's a big thing for riders, you know, planning your shows and your schedule and the horses' schedules to peak at a certain time is probably the most important thing.
Christian Heineken now already reached a peak with a clear a little earlier on with Darko's Son, now returning with Cento Blue, this horse by Centadel.
And his wife was clear as well, Aaron.
Yeah. They're
Both
looking
very
to
good
try and
riders.
clean up.
Yeah. You can see on both horses there after number 7, the vertical, the Kirkpatrick vertical. He really hurried across the triple bar for the time. That Oxford again. That was a
There we
shame,
go.
a good round.
Yeah.
But that Oxford comes out, or quick out of that corner.
Leaves him on 4. Christian Heineken there will be back later on. He's got a second ride in there already with NK Starko's Son. Cento Blue finishing on the 4, 77.48. But, you know, again, sign of a good course in here, Lorcan. I mean, there's a lot of good rounds, but just a pole here, a pole there.
Yeah, and that's a sign of a good course designer. 'Cause especially at the 2-star level, it's very hard to build because you can't go above a certain height. But obviously, Germa is one of the best designers in the world. And
it's finding that balance between overcooking it, thinking I've got, you know, how many good combinations in, and they have that ability, the top group, to have that, you know, delicacy about a course.
yeah, and they can almost tell you before how many they'll have
Yeah.
or not. But you can see the material here this week has been quite light. You know, they're narrower poles and some new jumps. And he's used it very smart. Like
Yeah.
the ring, everything comes up quite quick. And a lot of related lines and distances. Like basically after the combination here, you don't really get a breather until before the triple bar. And then after that again, 4 jumps, all related.
Luis Larrazabal on course now with Venezuela Luminaria LS La Silla. Second ride for him.
Yeah, another good rider.
Yeah, he's put a win behind him already this week.
And he really celebrated in style. You can see he's leading the fist pump award. It's like something out of a Rocky movie.
Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, I'm surprised actually like how well that line has ridden.
Yeah, it's ridden very well. It's funny going into there has been a few have knocked the Oxer. Maybe it's gone right into that corner with the flags. And after really steadying up for the double of verticals, then you have to ride forward a little bit, and then the canter gets flat.
Finishing on a total of 4 there, 76.364 for Luis Larrazabal and Luminaria LS La Silla. But yeah, another one, just finishing on the 4 faults.
Yeah, as we said, he is doing a great job because that's another really good round. I wonder how many have just had 4 faults.
I was just looking down, all the way down to, well, 20, basically.
Right.
Yeah, 19. One of them had one time fault, 19. Kelly Slow Miller, Casherel.
And out of those 4 faults, it's a lot of different jumps.
Yes. Kelly Slow Miller, Casherel, the 30-year-old by Vingino. The US rider who's also been part of Nations Cup before now. Notably down in Mexico. Jonathan Miller going a little earlier on.
Yeah, the Heinekens are in. I wonder, can we see another couple in the jump off?
Yes, keep it very much a family affair.
I let myself down. Lacey, my fiancée, is clearing her first horse in.
Yes, you've got work still to do out there.
Leave that to Shane. Kelly had a good place in the qualifier
Yes.
Friday. Little rub there, but it's dead.
Stride-wise, what are we looking at down there from 8 to 9? What do you think is the best option? Coming off the triple bar into the double.
Yeah, I think the 8 strides, the way it walks, just got a little lost in that line. You could see the horse, it got a little disconnected. That was a shame. Again, another good round with just one down.
Just one down, finishes on the 4:77.49 there for Kelly Slow Miller. And Casherel, it'll be up to Jonathan later on as one of our clears to date.
But going back to your question there, I think if that was just a normal ox or even a vertical without being an in and out, you'd see a lot of people just roll up in 7 strides. But with the light blue poles, I think it's always better to add, if your horse is adjustable, because you don't want to get in there too flat.
Just a little extra caution.
Yeah, exactly.
Adam Prudhomme next. Romeo de Villarreal, a horse he rode to victory in trial in a Grand Prix last season.
Yeah, Adam's gone well. He's based with his parents, Plain Bay Farm, Katie and Henri Perdant. Obviously they have a lot of experience.
He was second in a Grand Prix in trial as well, went very well up in Traverse City too in 2019. Takes a breather for a moment. Let's just remind you, 11 clears at this point.
Maybe I'm going to be off with my prediction of another 8 or 9 clears.
We'll see. There's
still
some space
17
yet.
left. I think there's only been 1 clear since the drag break. Harden. Ooh.
Ooh. Now about recovering.
Yeah, that was strange coming away from the gate. I think he maybe just turned a little tight thinking about time allowed. The horse maybe didn't just get its eye on it. Bit of a miscommunication, but that happens.
And a difficult one when things are just not coming together and they go wrong early on.
Yeah, it's hard. You want to have a good start and then set your rhythm for the round. But when something goes wrong like that early on, it's easy for riders to get a little flustered or unsettled,
Well, decided to retire there, Adam Prudhomme and Romeo de Villarreal. And so that's the end of their round, I'm afraid.
Save the horse for another day.
Jessica Mendoza now, Dublin, second shot for Jess. with his 13-year-old. Now, I should say, she finished second and third in the international welcome class. She was actually third with this horse. Had a good run there behind, of course, Nikki Sheney and Simpson and Akuna Matata.
Yeah, Jess has a lot of success in this horse.
Former ride of Carly Anthony and Kent Farrington, if I remember.
Yeah.
Jessica's ridden through to championship level for Britain already in her young career.
Yeah, she was the reserve at Rio, wasn't she, for the
Yes.
team? I'm surprised the wall has actually jumped very good. It was well ridden.
Wind just getting up at the moment. As we say, we do know there's a fair bit of rain on its way.
I'm not sure you can see it on the camera, but there's a lot of sand blowing in across the ring.
Yeah, wind's just picked that up. Not making it so easy for Jessica down there. She's holding it together well. One more to go. Time is absolutely fine. Jessica picks up to the last. Just a little rattle on the finish. 75.13 and will give us another of the clears after a very good finish. As we talked about earlier on, I think a resumption of the battle with Nikki Shahini and Simpson to come later on. They were very close together on Friday. Now let's see if they can put it together to another head-to-head. Up to a dozen though in the jump off, but she did well there, Lorcan.
Yeah, great round, very well ridden. Lovely horse, very careful. That'll be one to watch in the jump off because she was pretty fast the other day.
She does fast. I don't think she does slow.
I don't know if she goes slow, yeah.
Freddie Vasquez, Dantes, which I think was actually a former ride of Jessica Mendoza's, goes now. A rider from Puerto Rico, based out of Illinois. Pan Am rider in 2019.
That's a shame, another one with that back bar at the second. But you have to take a chance there because if you go wide, you're already too slow then for the rest of the round.
But that's where course designing wise, and he's done it quite a bit this week, he's lulling you in, isn't it? There's been some long loops from 1 to 2, if you wanted to make it a long loop.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose in the Grand Prix, a lot of the riders are pretty experienced. I know we have a few young riders moving up, you know, but then they're training with better riders as well. Or not better, but more experienced. So they'll be telling their students that to really make up time there, and you can't go too wide. And it's good practice as well, because if they are moving up through the grades, just a little miscommunication. But you could see there at A, he came in on a little bit of an angle and had the first part, and then he was basically angled at the...
I was going to say, we're right behind. He was actually angled straight at the wing.
Straight at the wing, yeah. And that's again that line, you know, you really have to square it up. Better there.
Bit of encouragement down the line over the Oxer. Now on for the finish.
That's good, finished well. Jumped those last 3 jumps quite nice. So
yeah.
The horse won't hold anything against that round. And I'm sure, I think Freddie's going next to Great Lakes in Michigan, so that'll be one that I'm sure he's jumping in the Grand Prix up there.
Yeah, finishes, well, the score overall of 22, with the time falls added in 1:02.50 for Freddie Vasquez and Dantes. Katie Abramson now, the US rider with the 11-year-old Westphalian Vancouver by Valentino. Again, another one based not too far away, based up in Ohio. Actually, the Split Rock Tour heads to in October.
Stallion gelding Vancouver, number 112. A lot of success in the Ocala season early this year.
As we mentioned earlier on, good start down in Ocala. 22-year-old. Was competing internationally in Tryon last year.
Yeah, Katie trains with Scott Keach and Sharon Wardley if Scott's not around. See, this horse has got a lot of blood. Shame. She just clipped it behind, but then the horse really reacted well.
Yeah. Again, just touch in front at 6.
That was well ridden.
I guess they got out well today, gave herself space.
Yeah, really got straight, and then even still had a little rub coming out, but she rode it very well.
On the way on the 4, and will leave her foot on the last as well. Leaves a toe on there, finishing on a total of 8 then, 81.37. Going to add a couple for time too. Well, certainly 1 for time for Katie Abramson and Vancouver as they go up to a score of 9 overall.
I think Katie will be happy with that. You know, a light rub in the middle of the combination and then just a little close at the last.
Daisy Farish now.
It's Michael Murphy.
In fact, yes, Michael Murphy. Little change in the order. Quick Bob, 8-year-old Holsteiner by Q Verdi. Michael, who was the winner of the speed class, the first international class here this week. He was first to go of 50 or so in that, and won it from the front.
He had a great round.
Yeah.
It's actually funny, I went early in that class too, and I was chatting to someone next to me and said, God, that'll be hard to be beat.
And it wasn't.
And then he was placed in the class on Friday also.
Yes. No, he's had a good week out of all the events here in Lexington. But there's an 8-year-old.
Nice jumper. Like we said with Brian earlier, when you're on a bit of a run and the confidence is up.
Certainly helps.
Shame another one just down into that corner. You can see the horse just didn't finish its jump, but it's only an 8-year-old, so.
Yes. Finished on a total of 4 there. Well, it's going to be 1 for time as well, 79.04. But there, an 8-year-old combination, you say, that was a good educational round.
Yeah, and he rode it very well. That's good experience for the horse. You know, I'm not sure. I think that could be its first 2-star Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but very nice round and could easily have been clear. And I'm sure that's one that they're excited for the future. That's good that you can move the younger horses up, because although there is tricky lines in the course, it's not like the jumps are massive and it's going to scare the horse either.
It's a good building block.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows you where your horse is at times, you know, whereas that handled it no problem. So maybe when the 3 stars do start in a month or so, maybe that horse is ready to step up again.
Yeah. All on the ladder, Megan McDermott now with H.H. Callis, the 13-year-old by Albatross.
This has been a great horse for Megan.
Yes.
She used to train with Vasco Flores. I think Vasco found this horse for McLean Ward was riding it, and before that Danielle Turano had a lot of good results. I think this horse even won the Hampton Classic Grand Prix. Maybe? First place.
I'd have to trawl through.
Could be wrong.
Certainly won a lot of classes.
Good ride through the combination, jumped it with ease. Now Megan's riding with the Bloomin family, Daniel. It's funny, a lot of people are rubbing that Liverpool Oxer number 6.
Yeah. But overall, that line's almost ridden too well. I mean, you pop in 5 strides, done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important you ride the Oxer well, because if you catch it too fast and forward, then the 5 gets very steady. Whereas there she came in with a nice rhythm, good distance, although the horse rubbed it. It didn't look like it was going to knock it, and then the 5 was just a little balanced in her hand, and the horse jumped it great. She's going to be close to time, maybe.
Yeah, not got acres of it. Might be just enough. Let's take a look. Ooh, 78.84. Yeah, just enough. Megan McDermott and H.H. Callis will put themselves into the jump-off as the, well, lucky or not, 13th of the clears so far. They've not quite so many as we were seeing in the first round, but again, you know, it is a mixed field. You know, we've got some 8-year-old horses, we've got young riders, we've got experienced riders, we've got all of it thrown in there.
Exactly, yeah. And if you look at the start, but even as you say that, in the first half, it's basically half and half, young riders clear and more experienced.
I mean, we've got a few very good, well-experienced horses coming up. With Wings is one example, with Karen Pollet jumping in this that comes up. Lacey's down at the end.
Yeah. Shane with Alejandro.
Yeah.
Shane Sweetenham. Andrew Wells with Primo Troy.
I would expect to see 4 or 5 more.
I'd say there'll be a few more.
Yeah. Nicolette Hurt on course could be one of those. A 9-year-old, SIC Larissa. Olderberg by Livello.
Nicolette also has got good education behind her. I'm pretty sure she trained with Dietmar Gugler in Germany, and now is based with Nicky Simpson. You know, so that's 2 good programs and systems to be involved with and really learn. See, she probably just got a little closer there than she would like.
Oh, no.
But again, I think the most important thing with that line is that you actually ride the track that you walk. You know, if you see people either go too far out or too far in, that's when they're running into trouble.
Yeah. And from her point of view?
I think she fell in a little bit.
Yeah.
We were right behind her, you know, and
yeah,
maybe just got a little bit lost connection with the horse. I don't think the horse was expecting it to come up as quick.
Yeah. Well, we're back underway. There we go. That's how to do it.
It was a good ride. As you can see, the horse jumped quite high over the B element, and she really had a ride up for the 4 strides.
Well, putting things back together. There's going to be some time to add in here as well. No trouble at the last. 87.69, so time to add. 8 for jumping, and I think probably, what, 2-3 time to go on top. Yeah, 3 time to go on top, up to 11.
But again, finished well after she came back to the double, you know, finished strongly. So again, just getting back into the rhythm of things, getting back showing.
Matthew Schwenke now of Germany, riding a horse for the Heineken family. NKH Caruso, 16-year-old by Cash and Carry. A good experienced horse with a rider who's shown some good form already this week.
Yeah, he's a good rider. See, can the Heineken team get 3?
Yes, Christian and Erin already through.
Can could see this is a bigger horse, a big stride, maybe a bit slower moving. You can see there 1, 2, 3 he was really tight, but then stayed out there, give himself a moment. Because I think on his last horse, his first one, he had the same fence as I did, the A element of the combination.
Yeah.
Well ridden there. I think he's going to have to get going a little bit.
Yeah, time could be close here.
I had looked at a few earlier. You want to be jumping that green is the new blue Oxer around 58 seconds, and he jumped it at 60.
79 seconds the time allowed. Depends on this turn to the last, but I don't think it's going to quite be enough, will it? Will it? It will. 78.83 for Matthew Schwenker and Enkage Caruso. It's enough for the German rider to go forward to the jump off. It's the third one for the Heineken team to go into the lineup, and it's clear round number 14.
Almost identical
touch and
time
go.
to Megan McDermott.
Touch and go there. Puts him in as the 14th of the clears. Andrew Burns now. 9-year-old Darkito, horsed by Dinzeo 6. The Irishman also based here in the US. Rain has just started to come down. If we can keep it as it is now, it's coming vertically as opposed to horizontally like it might do later, then we might stand a chance.
I think Andrew should be okay riding in the rain.
Yeah.
Coming from Ireland. We thought it was the nicest weather.
Do you remember what Irish rain feels like?
A lot worse than this. This is like a nice summer day. Obviously Andrew's family, Richard and Deirdre, great producers of horses. Very successful operation at home.
Yeah.
And his brother runs a very successful farm as well.
We were saying earlier in the week about what a good set of horses he's got around him at the moment. I mean, Andrew's very good at producing them, and then usually somebody else does take them on to the next level, but he's very good at getting them, finding those ones.
Yeah, he is, and you look, they've sold a lot of horses that have gone on to be really successful. You know, you think they had Mark Hugh of Kevin Babington's originally. Very good round.
Good round. Time is good enough, 77.44. Andrew Burns and Darkito will take us on to the 15th clear. We might go 10 in each round yet, we'll see.
That's 2
Overall
for
thoughts
Andrew.
on that one?
Yeah, the horse jumped great. That's an 8-year-old, right? 9. Andrew's a very good rider, but you can see there, talking about how well he produces, you can see how nice his horse is riding. You know, it jumped around that like an equitation round in places, you know. Yeah. Really good.
Hard and towel now. A towel is required now because it's definitely raining. Hard in back this time with Gotcha. 9-year-old by Staccato.
Don't think the rain will bother Harden either. Made it tough stuff.
Boy, originally from the Carolinas.
Again, you know, coming from a great horse family.
Yes.
His sister Liza is one of the best hunter riders in America. His father Jack runs a really good training operation. Jumped through that very well. Oh, shame. Again, Harden is teamed up with Dara Kenny with Oakland Stables. That's a business that's really growing. You know, they have out west now too with Simon McCarthy.
Yeah.
And then in Europe, a lot of good riders there as well. Michael Hughes riding for them.
Just puts a foot on that one as well.
Brian Walker has started working for them as well in Europe.
Yeah. It's a corporation.
It's a big business.
Finishing on a total of 8 there is going to be 76.63 there for Hardenthal and Gotcha. Unfortunately drops a couple of fences. Clean over the wall, as we can see from that playback. Already in there with Carollo. Well, Daniel Blumen back with the second ride now. This is Gemma W, 9-year-old by Luidam. The rider who, based here in the US, rides internationally for Israel.
Daniel, obviously one of the best riders in the world now. He's won a lot of big Grand Prix with his main horse Ladriano. And a couple of nice younger ones come through like this, and the horse he jumped earlier had a time fault. Only an 8-year-old stallion.
And the taps really being turned on now. The rain is definitely coming.
Yeah, hopefully we can get
But
the
this
jump
is why
off finish before.
Yeah, this is why we moved forward 2 hours in the first place.
Yeah, it was a very good decision, you know, from Derek and his management team. They do a great job here running the horse shows, and that's another smart.
Get ahead of the weather, don't wait for it to come to you.
Exactly. Because obviously I think we're expecting some lightning as well. You don't want that when you're...
In a couple of hours, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Daniel putting a good solid round together. As you mentioned, big 5-star Grand Prix wins together, including Rome last year with Ladriano. But this one up and coming in his string, Gemma W. Looking nice, yes, 78.08. Daniel Blumen, Gemma W. Gives us clear round number 16. Continues with the solid efficiency. But again, you know, Lorcan here, we're seeing a few horses that will really come into play, and this year, whichever way we look at it, is not going to be the year for the big
really
competitions.
For next year. And it's important, you know, say if you do have an older horse that is already at that level, you need other horses coming through in your string, so you're not having to jump them week in, week out. And you can see that with Daniel. You can see that horse that he's just jumped, progressing up through the ranks. Like this year would be a good, or is going to be a good experience for that, because you're not going to be jumping the big 5 stars week in, week out.
Yeah.
So they can really catch up. You know, I think you're right. I don't think there's going to be many big shows even towards the end of the year.
Yeah. Karen Polle with wings for the Japanese rider. Now, talking of big shows, these have been 5-star Grand Prix winners down in Florida. They've won the Hampton Classic Grand Prix. The horse is 17 years of age now by Lorino. But it's a lovely combination, and really is probably one of the best horses around.
Yeah, it's I love watching it. And I think Karen's had it for years. You know, she's moved up through the ranks, doing the junior jumpers here, to her first few FEI shows, you know, and then to winning big Grand Prix, championships. It just does it so easy. And again, going back to the confidence thing, they know each other inside out. Flew through that. You know, so when you have that belief in a partnership, you feel like you can do no wrong. But even shows like this year, 4 horses like this, it's nice that the pressure's not always on. It's not always big shows, big classes. And I'm not saying this isn't difficult, but for this horse, it is dropping down a level, you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah, he's used to jumping 5-star Grand Prix.
Yeah,
160 verticals. Yeah. It's a nice reintroduction back in, though, for the year.
Exactly. And it's important to keep them going. It's not that you can just leave the... Good ride.
There they go. Ooh, yes, they're okay. 78.58. And so inside the time, giving it clear as well. Number 17, not unexpectedly there for Karen Polle with wings. But again, I mean, I guess for her with a horse that's 17, you don't want to be dropping too much this year. You want to keep going and get a few more years and keep. It's much better for the horse to keep ticking over.
Keep going. I'd say she's very disappointed not to have a home Olympics this year. So hopefully she can keep tipping away with the horse this year and have him fresh still maybe for next year.
Exactly, and she's got other horses as well, like Solly and so forth. That
Yeah,
go
exactly. Keno also
Yeah.
jumps the big classes on him. And again, as we just said, it's important to have horses around that you can save horses for certain shows.
Annabella Sanchez in Cetaceous. As we're coming down to our final 5 in the first round here. Just 18 years of age, the rider from Illinois.
Yeah, another rider just moving up through the ranks. She's based with Andrew Wells now, but she's had this horse a few years as well.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, she's won a lot nationally with this, hasn't she?
Yeah, and like in the under-25 division and stuff last year. Well, give some jump over the wall. So she's just turned professional this year, so obviously wants to do the sport. It's a shame. Just got a little strong down there, but she fought for it. That was a good ride. You could see the horse got a little strong in that line too, but she did a good job of really staying out and getting straight. You can't take that oxer for granted. You got to keep the leg on there a little bit.
On the 8th, but another one to get some good experience here as part of the $75,000 Grand Prix. There we go, 78.27, finishing on a total of 8 for Annabella Sanchez and in Cetaceous. But it is going to be a building year for her at this level, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. She just needs to get rounds under her belt now. And by now, like, that was a good round. A couple of cheap rails.
Yeah.
But going through now this summer, 2 stars, 3 stars. And then by the time she gets back to Wellington, she'll have a lot more experience. And then you could see that combination jumping the night classes down there, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's good
Shane
to see
Sweenham,
young
Alejandro, and the 11-year-old. I think second in the Grand Prix in London last year on the Global Champions Tour. Shane with a great record behind him, based here in the US. Second in the Nations Cup Grand Prix down in Wellington back in early March. World Championship team. I mean, you've worked with him for years.
Yeah, I was
What's he
based
like?
with him since August 2012 until last month. He must be very patient to put up with me for that long.
What's he like to work with?
Great. I couldn't say a bad word about him. I'm actually living with him this week here, so we're still very close. You know, he's a ultimate professional. To be jumping at this level and run the business that he has with his wife Ali is a testament to them, because he's traveling the world, you know, still with a young family. This past few years he's been consistently a member of the Irish team.
And
You
this
know,
horse has
ranked top 30 in the world this past few years. And he's really worked hard. It's been fun watching day in, day out him work with this horse, because I think he'd be the first to admit that the rideability wasn't great when he got it. But you can see now it just pops around that, you know. And he's really fresh. That's an exciting combination. And maybe this year, like you say, he was second in London last year. The pandemic might have came at a bad time, because for me he was really ready to rock.
Yeah. Well, chance of a win here. Shane Sweenham and Alejandro will go through 76.61.
Another rider with 2.
Yeah, 18th of the clears, I think.
Yeah, 18.
We're both doing the maths. Look at each other. Andrew Wells, Primo Troy. First of 3 left to go. An 11-year-old Irish sport horse by Clinton. As we mentioned earlier on, finished second in the World Cup qualifier in Washington, as part of that Longines series. Just the 2 into the jump off then with Laura Crouch.
This is a former ride of Paul O'Shea's.
Ah, okay.
It was produced at home in Ireland with Linda Courtney, who does a great job. Always has successful young horses coming through. And Paul found it there. Then Andrew bought it a couple of years ago. Oh. Shame.
No.
Just a little close. And the horse really tried. Then you're stuck in two minds sometimes as a rider. I'm sure if it was just a double, maybe he would have kicked on, but
Yeah.
I think Andrew's going to call it a day.
And coming out onto an Oxerad, the triple combination as well, you get in
Yeah.
some real trouble.
That's how accidents can happen.
Yeah.
You know, who's to say the
Sensible
horse
to
wouldn't
move
have jumped
out.
out clear?
Yeah.
But that's up to him. You know, that's you have to make that call, and you've only got a split decision. You know, you could see how shallow the horse landed after A, so I'm sure he didn't feel like it was worth the risk
it's
of
not gonna work.
kicking on.
Yeah. So Andrew Wells goes out with Primo Troy, which is a shame because that was one we were looking forward to seeing. Carlos Quinones, first of 2 left to go, the Argentinian with Satayama, the 14-year-old French-bred horse.
Yeah, Carlos is based here in Lexington, right next to the horse park. It's actually, his barn is just behind the Rolex ring over here.
I mean, you've been based in Lexington a number of times. What's it like being based here?
I love Lexington. Actually reminds me a lot of home. I've been over here now, since the end of 2011, so there's a lot of Irish in the town with the thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like a home away from home. Great restaurants, you know, the shows that are run here, really good through the summer. And it's a great place for the horses. You know, you look around the fields behind, you know, the horses can be horses when they're not jumping.
Carlos Quinones still clear at the moment.
Having a good round.
Rain has settled in, but thankfully doesn't seem to be getting much worse at this stage.
Yeah, I think by the look of it, we'll be able to get.
Pushes all the way out.
You could see that was getting a long way, and
yes,
he really had to press with his legs. How is he on time?
Should be okay, just a touch of the last. We'll get the score confirmed on that one. Carlos Quinones and Satayama.
Yep, clear.
And so they'll be back for the jump off. 2 go clear, confirmed for Satayama and Carlos Quinones. They were inside the time. And we'll leave 1 left to go. Lacey Gilbertson, Balopi. This should make you nervous.
I tell you, I don't normally ever get nervous for myself, but I do. Obviously, I want the best for...
Yes, your fiancée.
Yeah. At least she is 1 clear.
Yeah, she does.
And with this horse, you know, she's won so much on her. They know each other inside out, so.
Well, I was going to ask, I mean, she had a 2-star Grand Prix win down in March with this horse. She's won a 5-star class with it before. It's a horse that came from Bruce Goodin in New Zealand.
Originally. Shane bought it for himself. He rode it for a bit, and then Lacey was looking something, and they struck up a partnership right away. So, yeah, it was a great match. You know, she won a 3-star Grand Prix and Tryon on her at the end of last year. And
yeah.
Well ridden there.
She gave us the first of the clears, remember this, to get a second into the jump off. Sophie. That was good.
That was very well ridden, yeah. Not going to say too much because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
I can see you biting your fingernails. Never mind saying something. You can't be blamed for that one.
That's a
There we go,
shame.
that's
That was
a
a
shame.
really good round.
Sum it up for me.
I think all in all, jumped a great round. Maybe she'd be kicking herself. Got a little flat there at the vertical. Just trailed it off behind. But all in all, she rode well. The horse jumped really good. I think she should be happy with that.
Yeah.
And having one in. But yeah, she goes really quick on that one. That, for me, could have been up there in the top couple.
Could have been the
If
best
she got
chance.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one, she's just got it this winter. So they're still getting to know each other a bit. But again, I'm sure knowing her and Shane, she'll still be giving it a go.
Thank you, Lucan. Let's have a look at the lineup. Who's going into the jump-off of this $75,000 Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational. Hardin Towel in there with Corollo, Jessica Mendoza, Dublin, Christian Heineking, Darko's Son, Andrew Burns, Sea Top Blue, Shane Sweetnam, Shaki Zed, Brian Mowgray, Nikita Jolie, Shane Sweetnam again with Alejandro, and also in there Erin Davis, Heineking and Leone, to name but a few. Brian Mowgray, Nikita Jolie, Daniel Blumen, Gemma W, Karen Pole with Wings, Shane Sweetnam with Alejandro, and last to go in fact will be Carlos Quinones, and his ride, as we saw, was Sato Yama. So those going into the jump off to decide this first of the international classes on the American soil of the international ranks. Lexington International, we hope you're enjoying it, being back in action, and we're going to be back in action for that jump off in just a few minutes as our team set the course. 19 in fact to go through to the final shake up here, and looking forward to that. It's just a few moments away.
Hope that you'll keep them in mind wherever you go, no matter what. The shows are going to have to run under some different conditions throughout the nation, throughout the sport, and we hope that you'll heed all of that so our show jumping can continue on. We appreciate your support. We appreciate also the support of our sponsors. And of course, today, the $75,000 FBI Grand Prix is presented by the Kentucky CSI 3-Star Invitational, which is a feature event during the EEI Kentucky 3-day competition that is usually an April-held event. This year, of course, canceled, but 2021, we look forward to resuming with that 3-day event and one of the centerpieces, entertaining show jumping in the Invitational up there at Rolex Stadium. Taking a break to drag, adjust, and get ready for the jump off. It'll be a big one, it'll be a fun one, and a fast-paced run to the finish. We'll see you back here shortly with the return. Folks, we're about to finish the adjustment here and be ready to move into round 2. And of course, that's where the pace will certainly pick up. And they'll be a step closer to possibly getting the winner's share of a $75,000 total prize here today. While the prize money in this class is at stake, there's also a leading lady rider award brought to us by Wrestling, one of our great advertisers here at the Split Rock Jumping Tour. We'll tell you about some of the front runners for that. As the wrestling jump is continuing to go back in, that will be a part of our jump off round. You'll note that the course has been mighty simplified here. Many jumps have been removed, which is going to give us a lot of options, a lot of tighter cuts back to some of the fences that will be in the jump off here today, and that'll keep things exciting indeed. The jump off round will again begin over the same 3 fences, 1, 2, and 3. The horse flight oxer across to the Kentucky 3-day Equestrian Events Incorporated oxer number 2. The Split Rock Jumping Tour wall headed back toward the gate is number 3. And then they have removed the A element of what was a triple combination, making way from 3 to 4, B, and C. Rolling back to the left, the Wrestling Oxer will be fence number 11. Remember, Wrestling, one of our advertisers who bring us, again, the Leading Lady Rider Award. That's an additional bonus. And then fence number 15 is added, the Neon Vertical, and 13 is where they'll wrap things up yet again over the Split Rock Jumping Tour Oxer as they chase big prize money and big honors. They've been on a big break, so I know the checks coming out of this top 8 prize will definitely be long awaited and valued, possibly more than ever before. We've never seen such a break in the sport of show jumping as we have here in 2020, but we have come out triumphantly due to a lot of work, and we appreciate, of course, all of the exhibitors, as I mentioned, who helped us to maintain the protocols throughout the week. We're going to talk about one of the best barns who have been with us here this week when we get into the completion of our events, but for right now, we're about set for that jump off. Just to recap, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 BC, 11, 15, and 13.
Well, set to pick up and go into the jump off here for the $75,000 Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational, which is a big Grand Prix show in itself, part of the Land Rover 3-day event that takes place here. Would have taken place at the end of April and in conjunction with the organisers here at the Kentucky Horse Park, but wasn't to happen this year, but presenting sponsor of this Lexington International 2-star. There's a few of the names you see, and the first name up is the first of 19 that comes forward, Lacey Gilbertson, very quick on the return with the 11-year-old Self-Francais Viti de Longa. Lorcan Gallagher alongside me, the Irish rider and fiancé of Lacey as well. So you can bite your nails for a little bit longer now. But I mean, this is a newer horse to her. Where's this one been in the?
Yeah, she got it just around Christmas time. So she was jumping it. It's a mare, so it did quarantine at the start of WF, and then she did it in a few of the amateur divisions. But this is her first week doing FAI.
So let's have a look around the course. So shortened course, 1, 2, 3. That's the second over the Kentucky Invitational fence, the Split Rock wall. Then first part of what was the triple taken away. Good spin back there.
There's a line to a new jump here.
New fence 15 comes in.
That's good.
Vertical they can take on the angle, and then down to the last. Pretty good.
Round. Good start.
Pretty good to start us off. 38.58 for Lacey Gilbertson. Okay, sum it up.
Yes, I think she'll be happy with that. Great jumper. You could see them having a lot of fun days ahead. I think maybe there's one less stride to the last.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't get shouted at for saying that. Yeah, hopefully it gets a good placing for her, but I'd say there could be a couple quicker. But still a good round. You know, the horse jumped great. She rode very well. And like we said about a few people earlier, going forward to other shows, that's, you know.
Well, let's go forward. I mean, playing up as usual, Hakuna Matata, but this is what this horse does. It's won the big class here on Friday. It is one of the favourites here. Nikki Shanahan-Simpson second in the international class earlier on in the week, winner of the next one, and this can be very fast indeed. This is where we're really going to see it get it going.
Yeah, this is really fast partnership. When you're saying about the playing up, but when they jump like this one does, sometimes you just have to say, okay, meet you halfway.
Yeah. And it is, she was telling me earlier, it's because of it, you know, the earlier in the week, it's enthusiasm. This horse wants to get in there and do it.
Yeah. Wow. Look at the way it jumped out of that.
Yeah.
This horse, I believe, was it was a triplet.
All right, yeah.
When it was born, yeah.
And had serious problems earlier on in the year, but is now right back to form, right in the
really
head of the affairs. 7:37.60. That's the kind of time we're going to be looking at. And I don't think she left much there, Lorcan.
She didn't, and actually looking back to Lacey's time is less than a second behind, so maybe back to the double. There's one less stride there too, but everywhere else, you know, the horse has a massive stride and it's always going. I think that'll be beat.
Yeah, okay.
I think so.
We'll see.
I think there's one less to the last there as well.
Yeah. Shane Sweetnam's got a shot here. Chucky Zed, the 14-year-old experienced international 5-star horse for him.
Yeah, this is the horse Shane rode when the Irish team won the European gold in Gothenburg in 2017. So it has all the experience in the world. And Shane doesn't like to hang about.
No. Shane Sweetnam winding up then. Shaki Zed, time to beat 37.60.
It's quick there. 7 strides back on the wall, the same as Nicky. That looked a little quicker. Pull the shoe.
Let's see. Landing on there in 27. Oh, it just gets flattened through. Finishes on the fall, 37.95. Was close to that time of Nicky Shanahan-Simpson.
There, he ended up having the vertical after it as well.
Just get a little fired up.
Yeah, but you see how fast they're going, so they're going to have to take risks. And that's it, you know, with this many in the jump off, if you take a pull there, you're down in 8th and 9th.
Yeah.
You know, so
give it a go.
There's no point in being in there if you're not going to try and win it.
Well, there Shane Sweetnam heading on out, and he finishes on the 8 faults in the end, 37.95. Christian Heineking, NKH Darko's son, this 9-year-old Dutch-bred horse by Darko, as the name would suggest. And let's see, leading time 37.60. And you reckon, really, it's about a turn into the double?
It's a real flow on tracks, like 1, 2, 3, you have to be really tight. I think you do have to take a chance into the double there and trust your horse. Turn back tight here, get your 6 strides across the middle, and then just keep coming to the last.
Lands in 26 seconds.
Like there, he did the 7. Still, he's not a million miles away.
He's not a million miles away. He's certainly not. And takes a
fly
flyer
out
to the last. Is it going to be enough? 37.38. It will be. Christian Heineking, NKH Darko's son, go into the lead in this $75,000 Lexington International Grand Prix.
But you see that, the chance he took to the last, but that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Takes a gamble. Now, I don't think there's an awful lot more left to squeeze out of that, is there, time-wise?
The only thing he rode a really good round. The horse spends a little bit of time in the air, so maybe one of these quicker horses across the ground could catch it, but
slither across.
Now they're going to really start chasing, and that's when mistakes will come in.
On to our next now, and we're into the Blumen family. Mark Blumen, 30-year-old Cartouche, and oh no. Anchors go on.
Like that, you know, you really have to turn tight and take the chance. That's another family with the two Bloomans cousins in the jump off.
I think he's going to pull up. Yeah. Mark decided to call it a day. Hand goes up. And so the Colombian rider retiring.
That's a shame, but yeah, you have to take the chance.
But as you say, you've either got to go at this full and going.
Well, that's it. It depends what your ambitions are, or you use, like, there's not many riders going to be using this class as a warm-up for something else. So I think most of the people you see down the list that are in the jump off, they're all going to be giving it a go.
And you're back in the realms of we're back into competition. Let's get back into competition.
Exactly, yeah, and trying to make some money.
Yeah. Brian Mowbray.
None of these riders have been picking up any prize money this past couple of months, so
yeah.
This will be quick.
Brian just having a final discussion up in the tunnel. Now the 18-year-old with his 10-year-old Oldenburg by numero uno. And next to the US chances, Germany leading at the moment with Christian Heineking, 37.38. Now what do we think? I mean, you know, Vive le Rêve is his key horse, not riding that one in this jump off. This a little less experienced, or
yeah, obviously a little less, but I'd say still going to give it a go, and this will be a good, this will tell a lot, you know, if the other time can be beat, because this horse doesn't spend as much time in the air. It's tight back there.
quick away.
And remember we said, well, that's the same thing, you know, added up and did 7 and then really turned tight here.
This is looking good. 37.38. This to go into the lead, and they will at 36.34. So Brian Mowbray, Nikita Joly takes almost, well, just over a second, in fact, off the time of Christian Heineking. Got, you know, deeper one into that wall, but got the turn.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, he actually did the same number back, 7 strides, but he got there waiting instead of riding at it, and he was able to land within 1 stride. He was turned and gone away from it. But I think after the new vertical, or before that, both of those guys, Brian and Christian, both did 7 strides. You can see Lacey at the start did 6.
Yeah,
but maybe that shoots you out too wide to the last, but I think someone probably will do 6 and get the line to the last, so that's maybe where you could catch him.
Get that other half second out of it. Andrew Burns, C top blue for the Irishman. 7th of our lineup of the 19 in the jump off. It's a 9-year-old by Chaco Blue out of C top lady. Now ready.
That's good there.
As you say, the danger is just running into that vertical.
Yeah, it's hard into the double.
Now what landing? 27, so I think a little bit back. Up to last, 36.34 to beat. Not going to beat that, but it's a nice round nonetheless. Puts a good one together for Andrew Burns. 39.49, C-top blue. 9-year-old there, Lorcan.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy. You can see he turned tight without running the horse off its feet. It was good riding. The horse jumped very well. And he upped it from the first round without going crazy. Yeah. So good experience for the horse.
Well, Andrew Burns then down into 5th place. It's Brian Murgray that leads, Christian Heineken 2nd, Nicky Shitty and Simpson in 3rd. Brian leading with Nikita Jolie on 36.34. Jonathan Miller now, the Canadian rider with Devoe. Another experienced combination. Now for the Canadian Nations Cup rider and Championship rider. Winner of the opening class here this week.
Yeah, Jonathan's a very good rider. Obviously his dad Ian is one of the best in the business. I'm sure he's picked up a lot over the years. That's good there. Land and turn.
Nice and tidy.
I think there the W really have to just trust. That's a shame. He set that up actually, early enough, but with a cheap rail.
Jonathan just running into the front bar too, the rest still in fence. Leaves him on the 8. Good for the last time, 38.85 for Devoe and Jonathan Miller. Didn't quite come together. Leaves the front legs on the vertical.
Now it's Daisy Farish, who hails from nearby Brazil.
Well, coming up up to the halfway stage. Daisy Farish of here in Kentucky. In Lexington for sales, to be exact. US rider with the 12-year-old Great White by Kamano.
Daisy's another rider based with Ken Emily Smith working for them, so she'll be trying to get one up on barn mate Brian. And from here in Kentucky.
Yeah, only a teenager but already put 5-star wins behind her up in Spruce Meadows.
She's a very good rider.
Good turn, but is it fast enough?
Let me get the 6.
36.34 leading time, isn't going to quite catch that. Still a decent enough round. Home in 38.60 for Daisy Farish and Great White, finishing on the 4. Just as you come round into the fence that she had, Lorcan, I mean, you really haven't, you don't give yourself much room to it, do you?
You don't, you have to turn back tight, and then you could see Daisy was already turning left again to get away to try and get that one last stride that she did. So when you're turning back like that tight, sometimes it is easy to just nick that front bar.
Erin Davis Heineken now. Leone. Christian, husband, has been pushed down into 2nd place. Erin, well placed in thermal this year. Won a Grand Prix on the Saturday night in Wellington this year as well, down in Florida.
Yeah, she had a great win that night.
Yeah.
She was only there for a couple of weeks, I think, and won one of the Grand Prix.
But this is quick. I mean, I was there for that Grand Prix. This can be a very
quick this could be fast. There. You could see she really turned on the gas to get down there, and then just couldn't get the horse back in time. She was trying.
Final fence as well, finishes on a total of 8 there, 37.59. One of the hot combinations, Erin Davis Heineken and Leone, not to be this time. But as we said, if you run down to that double, that's the danger.
Yeah, that's the risk. You know, it's all right me sitting here saying, yeah, you have to take a chance, but that's what can happen. And then, after going that fast, you can see the horse was still just travelling up to the last. And
well, your chances are 50-50. You're going to leave it up or have it down. So
exactly, yeah. And then if you take the flyer in, then B gets a lot closer to you then.
Yeah. Hardental Corollo, the 11-year-old by Chaco Blue. As we said, a pretty new combination together. But it's been a successful one with the previous rider. Harden coming in confidently.
6 strides there. You can see this horse is a massive stride. That was well ridden. I'd say Harden will definitely do the 6 strides here.
He did, but it cost him a fence on the way. Final
Good
fence.
time.
Yeah. 37.79, so time was still slower than that of the current leading time, Brian Mowbray, 36.34. But there again,
yeah, it's a hard jump. You know, you've seen even in the first round, already the horses weren't jumping at super, and now that you're having to just spin back on it, it's coming up even quicker again.
Yeah.
And turning in the same direction away from it. It's one thing if you're landing and you can slice across it,
Yeah.
and take it on the angle, but they're rolling back left and they're having to turn left right after it, and you've seen there the horse just chopped down a little bit on the back bar.
Well, take us on to Jessica Mendoza, Dublin, finished third in the big class, big jump off class here on Friday. She was second and third in that one. This 13-year-old has the pace. She has the determination.
Supporting your fellow countrywoman here.
Well, you know.
That's quick.
The key one. She edged out there. Time to beat 36.34. It's going to be very good. It's going to be very fast. It's going to be fast enough. And there they go over the finish. Looks good. We'll get that time confirmed. But Jessica Mendoza, 36.24. 10th of a second makes the difference with Dublin as they kick out there. But Lorcan, I mean, coming off the rest of Linoxa, she just edged out and gave herself a bit more room.
Yeah, and she did then one extra stride, but you could see she basically cut across the new vertical for the jump off and was on a good line to the last that she could really keep running or riding. But you see the start 1, 2, 3, she was really tight, and then she could trust her horse. He's so careful into the double, she just kept coming. That was a really well ridden round.
Well, Jessica Mendoza of Great Britain goes into the lead now with Dublin, 36.24, just 10th of a second between that and Brian Mowbray. Megan McDermott. H.H. Callis, this 13-year-old.
That'll be hard to be beat.
Yes. Still a bit to go yet, though. Ooh. Gets into the wall.
It's a lovely horse, this. Megan has a nice team of horses now as well.
Yes.
I seen this week she's jumping the bay horse. Mind blank now of Daniel Bloomington Tano.
Coming home, goes a bit wider, is on the clear. Not chasing down Jessica's time, but it's a good round nonetheless. 39.89 on the clear for Megan McDermott and H.H. Callis.
Yeah, good round. Okay, lost a bit of time there the way the wall come up for her, but everything else, she rode it pretty solid. A good first round as well, so I'm sure she'll be happy with that.
Megan McDermott then taking her down into 7th place. Jessica Mendoza leads, Brian Mowbray 2nd, Christian Heineken in 3rd. Could be going for the first British win on the Split Rock Jumping Tour through its history. Matti Schwenke of Germany. N-Cage Caruso, also for the Heineken stable. Our 14th of 19.
We actually have nobody else from the United States.
It's all international from here on in.
It's all international. So.
Ireland, Israel, Japan, Ireland, Argentina. Still pretty good. Not going to catch Jessica Mendoza, but going for the clear. Pushes on for the finish. Drives on for the last.
Good ride to the
Gets
last.
over the line in what? 38.16. That will drop them to about 5th place for Matti Svenka and NKH Caruso.
Sure, there's fine margins, but it's like everywhere in the world now it seems to be with the jump offs. You can have 5 or 6 within a second or so.
For Germany in the current 3rd place. So still Great Britain
Andrew Burns.
standing at the top of
Darkito.
the list. We have now
First of 5 left to go. 9-year-old by Dinzeo.
For Ireland, it's 9-year-old Dark
Andrew's already in the place in season 7th at the minute with his other horse.
7th with C-Top Blue. It's Jessica Mendoza, Brian Murgray, Christian Heineken, top 3 at the moment.
separating our top 2.
He's setting off at a good pace.
Here's one of the key ones. Good.
He's the kick on. That was well ridden.
Now he's picked it up.
To 6.
It's going to give them a run. I don't think it's going to be quite fast enough, but it's in for a good place. Down to the finish in what, 38.66. And so finish on the clear there for Andrew Burns and Darkito. He was in
Just
7th
ages
place
in
a little
front
bit
of his
earlier on.
other.
7th and 7th. He's now actually 7th and 8th.
And 8th, yeah.
7th
But
with
he'll be
Darkito.
happy. Both his
Yeah.
horses jumping double clear there.
And as we said, I mean, they're ones he's building for the future here.
Exactly, yeah. I'm sure he has a plan for them
Yeah.
going forward, and then I'm sure by the time he gets down to Wellington, if they haven't been sold, I don't know what his plan with them is, that they'll be ready to be competitive in the bigger classes.
Daniel Blumen, a man who's very used to the bigger classes, 5-star Grand Prix winner in Wellington and across Europe as well. Rome last season amongst those. Gemma W is going to be the ride today, though. The Israeli rider on this 9-year-old by Ludam.
It's tight there.
This is a big danger to Jessica.
I've really tried there.
This is the key. 36.24. It's not going to be enough. It's going to be a good one.
Close.
It's going to be a tight one. Close at 38.12, but not close enough for Daniel Blumen, Gemma W. Lorcan, what do you think?
It just shows you how quick Jess was. Daniel had a really good round there. The only place you could say maybe the Oxford didn't come up as quick as he would like, but horse jumped great again. Good round. Yeah, I'm sure he'd be happy. There's not a lot more he can do.
Well, Daniel Blumen there going into 5th place. Jessica Mendoza keeps the lead. Brian Mowbray 2nd. Christian Heineken in 3rd. Now,
This
when
one
it comes to
could
experience, yeah, this has got it in spades. 17-year-old with wings, Karen Pollet. First of 3 left to go. We've got Karen Pollet, Shane Sweetenham, Carlos Quinones.
They're going to have to go. You can see John Roach here going through a plan. He's very good at that. Good trainer. He's helping Karen this week when Connor Sweel isn't in the country. I'm sure they have a plan now to win, so it'll be interesting to watch this horse. A big stride, loads of jumps. She's going to be able to spin back on that pink ox, or probably still do the one less stride across the middle. And I guarantee if she's clear, she's going to keep coming to this last jump.
Yeah.
The Split Rock Farm jump.
Former 5-star Grand Prix winner in Wellington, winner of the Hampton Classic back in 2015.
But these next couple, Karen and Shane have a lot of experience, and then Carlos goes afterwards. So I think in these next, they're going to be giving it a go.
Yeah. This is the one Jessica needs to watch for. They've got the experience, they've got the 5-star wins, and they've got nothing to lose. Here we go.
Very tight. Wow.
Whoa. Not called with wings for nothing.
No scope, no hope.
Lands well, but a big jump there may have just lost them a bit of time.
You really, in these jump offs, you just want to catch it, almost fly through the air, not spend too much time.
It's going to be a nice round. It's not going to be quite fast enough, but it's been a good effort. There we go. Home in 39.63 for Karen Polle with wings for the Japanese rider.
Yeah, like she was really tight, 1-2. He jumped it high, jumped the wall high. So that does take, that adds seconds, or points of seconds, and at this level, it all counts.
Yeah. 2 left to come. Shane Sweetnam, Alejandro. Karen Polle there having gone into 10th place. Jessica Mendoza keeps the lead. Brian Mowbray second. Just a tenth of a second between those two. 36.24 leading time. Serious 5-star combination now for the $75,000 class presented by the Kentucky Invitational. Shane Sweetnam, Alejandro. This is where it might be gloves off between the two greys.
Yeah. One more stride there. But he also got away from it quite quick.
Back to this Oxer.
It's a good ride.
Time's not far away at all. It's just what happens here. 36.24 is going to be the leading time up to now. Is it going to stay as that?
Yeah.
It is, because it's 37.67 for Shane Sweetnam, and Alejandro will put him into about 5th place, actually. Shane Sweetnam, Alejandro.
Yeah, just shows you how quick they have to go.
Yeah.
You can see Shane's horse jumped out of the double quite high, and then the land still travelling,
One left to go. Argentina's Carlos Quinones. Satoyama, this 14-year-old. Just this one stands in the way of Jessica Mendoza lifting the trophy here in the first international here in the US, resuming after the
great to
hiatus.
get back jumping.
Drops tight over there.
It is a little wider, I think Jess has it.
Yes, I think you can. It's a nice round, but you can put Jessica's name on the trophy now. It's a little bit wider. It's nice.
But you can see Carlos isn't turning as tight. Riding more for a placing than the win. That's a shame.
Didn't come to fruition there. Just the final fence. And there we go. But it is a slower time at 44.49. 4 faults for Carlos Quinones. Satoyama. So the first win back into international competition here in the US. $75,000 Grand Prix presented by the Kentucky Invitational. It goes to Jessica Mendoza and Dublin. Welcome back to the sport.
Yeah, great week for Jessica. 2nd and 3rd in the class on Friday, and then winning today.
Super finish, here we go. Confirmation. Brian Mowbray in 2nd, Nikita Jolie, the best of the US riders. Christian Heineking in 3rd with NKH Darko Sun. It's Nikki Shihani and Simpson again in the placings, but finishing in 4th this time with Akuna Matata. 5th to Ireland, Shane Sweetnam, Alejandro. 6th to Daniel Bloom and Chemba W. Mathis Schwenke into Germany into 7th place with NKH Caruso. And 8th place to Lacey Gilbertson at Viti de Longa. She gets a good pickup as well. Lorcan Gallagher, thank you very much for joining me.
No problem, thank you for having me. That was fun. Nice,
I'm looking forward to seeing you around the circuit.
Yeah,
During
it's
the year.
good to be back jumping.
Good to be back jumping. We'll maybe even get a game of golf in as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Keep the competition going. Look, and thank you very much for all the best of the team. Stay safe. Thank you for joining us. And show jumping is back on your screens. That's what we're delighted to say. Great Britain win for the very first time as the Split Rock Jumping Tour series of shows. And here in international competition, Jessica Mendoza and Dublin claim the Lexington International 2-star. $75,000 class, the lion's share of that going to the young British rider. She was second and third here on Friday. She gets the #1 spot here on Sunday. To all of you out there that have joined us, thank you. We hope you've enjoyed it. A taster of international sport coming back. We hope you're safe. We hope you're well. Stay like that. Please, please do. And we look forward to seeing you down the line, wherever that will be. Presentation is going to be on its way.
Top 8 presentation is our custom of the Split Rock Jumping Tour. They're getting ready for that award in reverse order here. Of course, all week long, Local Gloves have provided gift certificates for all of our top 3 in each and every presentation. Thus, the local banner over that Split Rock Jumping Tour arch, and that's where the top 8 will emerge for their awards and moments. Derek Braun of the Split Rock Jumping Tour Management Group and founder of these events back in 2015, escorting the top 8 into the arena in reverse order. And again, we salute them all. Lacey Gilbertson, who was at the top spot of the order, finishes 8th in the results as she posted a penalty-free jump off of 38.58. And let's hear it for her effort aboard Vidi DeLonga. Nicely done by our rider out of Illinois, again blazing the first round trail and staying in for the top 8 in a double clear effort. Running up for 7th was Germany's Mathis Schwenker, now again based out of October Hill Farm in Texas with NKH Caruso, but again continuing to proudly represent Germany. We also have in 6th place for Israel, Daniel Blumen, who rode Gemma W to a 38.12 time. And we'll take a nice check for his efforts here today. That'll be for 6th place. 5th belongs to Shane Sweetnam. His best effort came aboard his second mountain to jump off at a 37.67 time. That, of course, was Alejandro in 5th. And of course, our winner from the Welcome the other day, she was one of the contenders for the Wrestling Leading Lady Rider Honors, Nicole Shahinian Simpson. She steered the win on Hakuna Matata on Friday. Today, she'll be your 4th place finisher in our main event. She had a 37.6 time for 4th. Germany's Christian Heineking will be a top 3 contestant. 37.38 his time with NKH Darko Sun, another North Texas-based professional representing Germany. And the highest-ranked U.S. rider, also from Texas, Brian Mulgray, piloted Nikita Jolie to a 36.34 effort. He was blazing fast when he got to the finish, but not quite as fast as the eventual winner, Great Britain's Jessica Mendoza. Dublin, just a 10th ahead of the pack, but that was enough for the win. 36.24 is how she gets to the top portion, and she'll have the winner's share of a $75,000 prize going out as well. While she joins us for the win in the Grand Prix here on Sunday afternoon, she has also earned the top share of points in our Wrestling Leading Lady Rider Honors. A basket of gifts, including Ray-Bans, the local gloves, also several other great items from wrestling going out to Jessica Mendoza. Beth Von Brecht joins us here to present the award today on behalf of wrestling as she and Derek Braun take the position for the victory photograph. And of course, Josh Winslow of Winslow Photography doing the honors in that victory photograph. We have one more order of business before we send her for the victory pass, and that is, of course, honoring Great Britain with the national anthem here as we wrap things up. So if you would please rise throughout the week. It's been a majority of U.S. anthems being played. Today, it'll be our group from across the pond, Great Britain, honored in the playing of that national anthem. That's your winning anthem again for Jessica Mendoza, and Dublin took the victory in 36-24. Now it's time for her to lead the victory pass here on Sunday afternoon. Let's see a nice fist bump as well as you round the bend here. Again, it was a 57-horse field that started the day. Many successful in getting back for round two, but the best of the double clears, Jessica Mendoza up on Dublin. Here comes the independent round of honor with Jessica Mendoza. Again, Dublin happily making his way around for the blue ribbon honor in a time of 36-24. There's your winner. We've got just a bit more to present here before we wrap things up for the week at our Lexington 2-star. Of course, horseflight.com, excellence in horse shipping, is the sponsor of our Fist Pump Award. And on day one, Luis Fernando Lamazabal was very enthusiastic as he won a 1.20 Speed Cup. And from that point forward, no one else had the exact same creativity and enthusiasm. So he maintained the wearing of the Horseflight armband, and he, of course, emerges now with a great check to honor that enthusiasm, which is a big part of the Split Rock Jumping Tour. Luis Fernando Ladisabal, again, our winner of the Horseflight Fist Pump Challenge. We are going to be bringing our winner over for a post-win interview, and I'm sure that Stephen Wild, my co-commentator, and our streaming commentator all throughout the week, is going to be happy to finally be joined by one of his fellow countrymen here in the booth as we get underway with that wrap-up in just a moment. Jessica Mendoza making her way over for the interview. Once again, our Kentucky CSI 3-star Invitational Grand Prix proud to support the Split Rock Jumping Tour as they provide an unparalleled show jumping experience. We look forward to having you at the 2021 Kentucky Invitational April 23rd and 24th right here at the Horse Park. EEI and the Kentucky Invitational 3-star, have been pleased to bring us today's Grand Prix show jumping main event, and another one coming up when things again get back to normal here in 2021. Well, again, we make it our tradition to follow up with our winners of each feature event here at the Split Rock Jumping Tour. And finally, we hear the national anthem of Great Britain in the last victory pass of the week. And, of course, it was for Jessica Mendoza. And, of course, her countryman, Stephen Wild, has been our streaming commentator throughout the week and is here to congratulate her and hear about the round.
Thank you very much, Mike. Well, the national anthem is definitely for her on this occasion. Here's the check that goes with it. Jessica, for you, I mean, it's been an astounding week. You were second and third in the big class here on Friday, and you were just missing a #1 spot, so you saved it till Sunday.
Thank God. No, my horse has been absolutely amazing this week. I really couldn't have asked any more of them, so I'm so happy.
You've built a really nice partnership now with Dublin. It's a horse that we've seen here in the States with Amelia Kent Farrington in the saddle, but you've built that nice relationship.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most careful horse I think I've ever sat on, and it took a while for me to get used to that, but now I really trust him, and I think he trusts me, and so now I can really go for it and jump off.
Well, you've always liked to go for it in any jump-off I've seen you go around in. What did you make of today's class?
It was a good course, actually. A lot of people in the jump-off, so I knew I had to go quick. I was trying to do the 6 on the second last, but I landed. I knew I couldn't make it, but actually in the end, waiting on the 7 got me on the inside line to get to the 9 for last, so it worked out well.
And in terms of what you've done, do you think it was going to be enough to clinch the class, or are you probably watching Shane Sweetnam and 1 or 2 others with a little bit of a hand over the eyes?
I felt that it was enough. I personally don't think I could have done any more, but obviously I knew I had some good riders behind me, and I luckily had some luck on my side, so...
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
And for you, I mean, you're spending a little bit of enforced time here in the States here this year. Although you have been spending more time here in the US, what have you made of the Split Rock shows?
actually, I think one of my favourite shows I've done. They do an amazing job. I love the prize giving. They really make such an effort kind of with everyone. And they've been great with the whole, social distancing, and it's an amazing show.
It's an amazing show. It's an amazing end to the week. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much.
Well done. Sport is back underway, and it's a British win that starts off the shows here internationally. Well done, Jessica.
Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations to Jessica Mendoza, our winner of the $75,000 Grand Prix here at the Lexington Two-Star International, presented by the Kentucky Invitational. We hope you've enjoyed it. We look forward to seeing you safely down the road somewhere.
Stephen, thank you very much. We'll wrap things up here at the Split Rock Jumping Tour. I'd be remiss to not say a thanks to Andrew Pollard for checking in with us earlier today, and we look forward to seeing him soon. Of course, he was missed during the week here at our Split Rock Jumping Tour, but the next time around, he'll be back on the team, and we look forward to that. To those of you who have been watching on the worldwide stream, thank you very much. We appreciate more of it going down the road. Of course, a lot of our competition made possible due to a lot of great support. So we'll send it back time for our sponsors.
I just love horses. I love a life with horses. When I